rituals of the Knights of the Golden Circle. And as you know, this is their book, 1861, written by a member. You know what I'm talking about? You know how we rock it.
Because you going to smell my cologne, Intimiyaki, on some bar number 9, because I do not play.
That's the same clone I wear.
Tabernacle, sanctuary, because we keep God first in everything we do.
And this is most definitely a primary source. As I said, it's written by a member of the Knights of the Golden Circle. And we got into this on the live stream. I believe it was the Invisible Empire joint we was building on when we realized there was tens of thousands of black KKK members, unbeknownst to us, if you do recall. I gotta get my meds together for this shit. Let me get my brownie going, man. They tried to bury us in the dirt. They didn't know we were seeds.
Settle this like you got some class, so we can get into some gangsters. We can get into some gangsters.
I damn near, from the shit I done learned, bro. What I know now today, I wouldn't even show my motherfucking face on the internet, nigga. I'm talking about for nothing, nigga. Not for nothing. Nothing, nigga. Shit crazy. But, you know, I know that I'm a motherfucking, I know I'm a hood hero, man. You know what I'm saying? This shit my destiny, so.
Settle this like you got some class.
Who trolling? Who we got? Let's see what he talking about, man. Today we got time. Let's see what he talking about. Hey, you guys are gonna be canceled. Oh no, that's probably a nigga we know that be in the chat. It's a nigga that be on the panel. You know what I'm saying? Shit be weird like that. Let that nigga talk. You gonna run the algorithm up. If he don't give you a headache, let that nigga talk. We're gonna be going up in a minute, tribe. Cause I'm already doing the knowledge to shit. So we're gonna be having a motherfucking 1,000 in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Might be having 10,000 in the chat. Coming real soon. So all my mods get ready, man. Yeah. We going up, man. We going up. Cause I just realized, like, shit, it's really like a nigga job. You know what I'm saying? And I don't mean like I get paid to do this shit because I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, I goddamn invest more into this shit. But it's good though, because as long as my people benefiting, then that shit, that's rich forever. You know what I'm talking about?
Because you going to smell my cologne, Intimiyaki, on the bar number 9, because I do not play.
That's the same clone I wear.
Tabernacle, sanctuary, because we keep God first in everything we do.
That nigga definitely trolling. You know they trolling. Are they gonna be coming hard? They coming hard hitting, man, because we uncovering too much. And especially, you know, with this shit coming up, you know, it's 2023. 23 is one of their witch numbers. So they taking shit serious. You know what I'm saying? I think that's why I'm gonna drop that. I got Illuminati Hotline Part 2 and Part 3. That's a new series we're gonna be doing. Illuminati Hotline. You know what I'm talking about? Keep shit fresh and interesting. Get them niggas some air, man. Atlantis is rising. Press 1. We hacking the motherfucking hackers. We hacking the hackers. We jacking the jackers. And we smacking the smackers. So watch your motherfucking mouth. Press 1.
You can settle this like you got some class, so we can get into some gangsters.
It's whatever you want, man. Talk it out, punch it out, shoot it out. You know what I'm talking about? We just hawking, man, minding our own business. But yeah, we uncovering too much, man, that we was never supposed to know. And the reason I'm seeing that is so detrimental to these people is because the way that these dots connect. Because once you start connecting the dots, you're gonna start connecting the locations. You know what I'm saying? The people. You know, because and this shit really so deep, bro. This shit is so deep. And it's the same network of people who overthrew our government because it's a cult. But they got members that's motherfucking 1,000 years old, shit like that. You know what I'm talking about? You don't hear me? You don't hear me though. Let's get into some reading, shall we? So, first we're gonna read these the ritual, because I want you to see, and I really been thinking this shit out, because you know I ain't gonna write nothing down, because you know what I'm saying, I'm a real hood Indian, you know what I'm talking about, and I know, you know what I'm saying, all they want to do is goddamn change the writings, you know what I'm saying.
The Aboriginal member of our people here in the West.
And you'd be surprised how much of the shit that's going on in the world didn't even start until the 1900s, 1910, 1920, 1950, 1960. I was just, yes, Lord. This is Buddha's palm. About 80% THC. Shit, that shit's. Oh God, nigga, I forgot what I was saying. I digress. Oh, I was studying some shit, and really, I'm trying to organize the shit in my mind, like. And as I'm organizing it in my mind, so I can present it to you, it's like when I be organizing it in my mind, I be thinking like it'd be like a missing piece. You know what I'm saying? I be like, no. They gotta see this too. But then it's like so much shit, bro. I wish a motherfucker could see inside my mind, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit crazy, man. But let me read. So we're gonna get into their ritual because I want you to see their allegiance. You know what I'm saying? how committed they are to this thing. And when they send them niggas in our chat and, you know what I'm saying, got these niggas killing these rappers, I don't know, these rappers in on it, playing dead, if the stars in on it, playing dead, or what the fuck. You know what I'm saying? I just watched a video, and goddamn, they was looking for Michael Jackson. I think it's like the 80s or some shit. And everybody looking for the nigga, can't find the nigga. And the nigga, the Russian government done let this nigga come chill in Russia and hit him. The nigga telling a story, you know what I'm saying? I forget who it was. It's probably on one of the Illuminati hotlines. It might be, I don't know. But long story short, man, it ain't no long story short with this shit. That's long story short. Hey man, y'all, goddamn, I told y'all the agent's gonna be coming, y'all. So don't even stress them niggas, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like they gonna be coming heavy, bro. This shit called the Invisible Empire 2: Ciphers, Codes, Castles, and Crosses. And you know, even when you're dealing with the crooks, you know what I'm saying? Crooks and Castles, that's one of my favorite street brands. You know what I'm saying? But that's still dealing with the same shit. But I didn't know what the castles was. I knew the crooks was the crook and flail, the Egyptian shit. But I didn't know what the castle shit was. We're gonna get into it. The ritual of the Knights of the Golden Circle. And maybe we need a little more background for some of those who may not be privy to exactly what we got going on here. So let's do a little brief synopsis. Let's see, where should we start? We'll start here. Let's see, where's the we do it like this. Come on. Yeah. Oh shit, hold on, y'all. Boom. We change this to boom. Fly shit only, you know what I'm talking about? We gotta keep it fly, man. Gotta keep it fly. Smash that like, man, if you just tuned in, and share the live stream. You know we big motherfucking shadow band. Or whatever the fuck it's called. I don't know what it's called. Blacklisted. Goddamn hiding and shit. I don't know what they call it. I don't know what the term is. I don't give a fuck. Press 1 because the 1 is for 1 because we already won. These motherfuckers must be dumb if they think we dumb. Come on, bro.
You settle this like you got some class.
You ain't dumb.
So we can get into some gangsters. We can get into some gangsters.
How you want it? Shortly before the Civil War began, the state of Texas was the greatest source of this organization's strength. All right. Texas was home for at least 32 KGC castles. Shortly before the Civil War began, the state of Texas was the greatest source of this organization's strength. Texas was home for at least 32 KGC castles in 27 counties, including the town of San Antonio. Marshall, Canton, and Castroville. Castroville. You said Castroville, right? Evidence suggests that San Antonio may have served as the organization's national headquarters for a time. Now that 27 is also 72. All right. The South began to succeed from the, and that's because it's front, back, back, forward, upside, down, side. They demons, bro. They're moving all through this motherfucker, all four directions. Don't you see that cross on his chest? Pay attention, all right? The South began to secede from the Union in January 1861. And in February of that year, 7 seceding states ratified the Confederate Constitution and named Jefferson Davis as provisional president. The Knights of the Golden Circle became the first and most powerful ally of all newly created Confederate States of America. All right. Before the Civil War officially started on April 12th, 1861, when shots were fired on Fort Sumter, South Carolina, and before Texas had held its election on the secession referendum on February 23rd, 1861, Texas volunteer forces, which included 150 KGC soldiers under the command of Colonel Ben McCullough, forced the surrender of the federal arsenal at San Antonio that was under the command of, Major General David E. Twiggs, on February 15th, 1861. Knights of the Golden Circle who were involved in this mission included Captain Trevanion Teal, Sergeant R.H. Williams, John Robert Baylor, and Sergeant Morgan Wolfe Merrick. Following this quick victory, volunteers who were mostly from KGC companies forced the surrender of all federal posts between San Antonio and El Paso. Perhaps the best documentation as to the power and influence of the Knights of the Golden Circle during the Civil War is the private journal and diary of John H. Surratt, the Conspirator, which was written by John Harrison Surratt and later edited by Dion Hayco and published by Frederick A. Brady of New York in 1866. In this journal, Surratt goes into great detail when describing how he was introduced to the KGC in the summer of 1860 by another knight, John Wilkes Booth, and inducted into this mysterious organization on July 2nd, 1860, at a castle in Baltimore, Maryland. Surratt describes the elaborate and secret induction ceremony and its rituals and tells that cabinet members, congressmen, judges, actors, and other politicians were in attendance. Maybe the most significant revelation of Surratt's diary is that the Knights of the Golden Circle began plotting to kidnap Abraham Lincoln in 1860. Before Lincoln was even inaugurated in 1861 and continued throughout the Civil War, resulting in President Lincoln's assassination by fellow knight Booth on April 14th, 1865. All right, so John Wilkes Booth, because some people believe he was sent by Bickley, Bickley. All right, that's the creator, you know what I'm saying, allegedly, of this. But you know, it's bigger than just that. And it goes back further than this, you know what I'm saying? Let me finish reading. After trying unsuccessfully to peacefully resolve the conflicts between North and South, the Knights of the Golden Circle threw its full support behind the newly created Confederate States of America and added its trained military men to the Confederate States Army. Several Confederate military groups during the Civil War were composed either totally or in large part of members of the Knights of the Golden Circle. One notable example of KGC military participation in the Civil War included the Confederates' Western Expansion Movement of 1861 and 1862, led by Lieutenant Colonel John Robert Baylor and General Henry Hopkins Sibley. And you know, where is that at? Let's go back here. John Robert Baylor. See, he's like a descendant of niggas who been on the fuck shit. Where is it? This nigga, motherfucking uncle. This is his great uncle. All right, let's go back. That's John Baylor. All right, 1861. That's him in uniform. But he's, all right, John Baylor, U.S. Indian agent, all right, publisher and editor. All right, these niggas know exactly what they doing, tribe. This nigga's the Indian agent, a nigga finessing with the newspaper and the propaganda, and he's a politician, and he's an officer, a senior officer of the Confederate States Army. After being dismissed as Indian agent, he became one of the founding editors of The White Man, a newspaper in North Texas, and a strong critic of Governor Sam Houston. Says during the American Civil War, Baylor led Texas Confederate forces into New Mexico. All right, remember New Mexico, and declared himself the first governor of the Arizona Territory. He was confirmed by Confederate President Jefferson Davis. In an altercation, Baylor killed an editor of a rival newspaper. All right, they got rival newspapers because the propaganda is that serious, because they know that this is an arm of the military. Just like this shit. That's why we always under attack. Said Davis disapproved of the orders Baylor gave his regiment to exterminate the Apache in his territory and removed him from office as governor, stripping him of Texas commission. Later, Baylor recovered, settling in San Antonio. He was elected to state government as a legislator and became a rancher. In 1881, he killed another man in an argument when he was about 59, but was acquitted at trial. He died years later at his ranch. All right. But he's a descendant of George Baylor. This is, yeah, there we go, back. John Baylor. Not to be confused with Colonel George Wythe Baylor, his great nephew. Okay, so that's probably the other dude, brother. George Baylor, all right, this is his great uncle. He was an officer in the Continental Army, serving throughout the American Revolutionary War. I stumbled because I'm looking at this motherfucking hat. All right. That's the same hat you saw on that little ugly motherfucker in the Mesoamerican sculpture with his motherfucking hand all in the Mayan woman blouse and shit. Oh, I'm talking about like she a real right now. Her shirt, nigga, and her dress, whatever the fuck. I'm trying to keep it kind of PG, you know what I'm saying? But it's crazy, bro. All this shit is connected. Walk with me, man. Pay attention to what I'm telling you. Baylor was first aide de camp to George Washington. He brought the news of the Battle of Trenton to the Continental Congress. He was later appointed to the lead 3rd Regiment of Continental Light Dragoons, which often acted as the escorts for Martha Washington while commanding his dragoons. In September 1778, his forces were attacked, blah, blah, blah. All right. But see, this shit is all the way in Russia. All right, these are privateers, basically. See, this shit, translate, man. What the fuck is he doing? Yeah. soldiers. And you know what's crazy? Because they give a whole nother rundown about the dragoons. You know what I'm saying? When you go, let's see, on some old American shit. That's why the shit had to be translated. Because they give you different shit. Because all it is references, excerpts from different books. And different motherfuckers choose different books. You know what I'm saying? The name reputedly derives from a type of firearm called a dragon, which was a handgun version of the blunderbuss carried by dragoons of the French army. All right. Shortened version of a blunderbuss, a firearm with a short, large caliber barrel flared at the muzzle. Dragoons were typically issued to dragoon cavalry. All right, so you're just saying it's a gun. Soldiers of the formation called dragoons, created in France by Henry the, what's that? That the fucking 6 or some shit? I don't know how to read that shit. Is that a 4 and a 1? That's a 5. V is 5, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that a 4? I don't fucking know. I gotta look it up every time I do a tattoo. The chat, no. It's a 4. All right. He ain't the 4th with that 1 right there, with that I, whatever the fuck. Anyway, y'all will tell me, I'll catch up. At the end of the 16th century, all right, boom, 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 blah, blah, blah. Infantry moved on horseback. And see, this is supposed to be a depiction of a Russian. See, it's more Russian shit, bro. I gotta get it translated to read it. According to the most common version, the name was to come from the image of a dragon. All right, so well, they just emphatically told us, reputedly, I believe they said, reputedly known. All right, but here, according to the most common version, the name was to come from the image of a dragon placed on the banner of the first troops of this kind. According to the Mala Encyclopedia Washposhka. See, this is what I'm saying. They got some whole other references. You know what I'm saying? So, according to the most common version, the name was to come from the image of a dragon placed on the banners of the first troops of this kind. Another explanation derives it from the German Tragen or Dutch dragon, to carry, which would be connected with the specificity of dragoons as infantry carried over on horseback. All right. Let's see what etymology say. Are we gonna get to the ritual and share the live stream, get some niggas in here? Let some motherfuckers wake up because they still sleep.
Cause you gonna smell my cologne. Intimate Yaki on the bar number 9, but I do not push.
That's Saquon Eyewear.
Tabernacle sanctuary, cause we keep God first in everything we do.
I just want to see what the computer gonna do. What the bots got to say. I'll put that Trajan in because that's supposed to be the German, right? 1300 dragnet. I never looked this up before. That's interesting. The motherfucking dragoons with these niggas. They ain't drag like a motherfucker, ain't they? That's crazy. Motherfucking dragoons, bro. There's some motherfucking dragoons, bro. Some motherfucking dragoons. Shit. That shit crazy, man. I don't even want to read no more of this shit. sense of women's clothing worn by a man is by 1870, perhaps originally theater slang from the sensation of long skirts trailing on the floor. Another guess is Yiddish, Trojan, to wear. From German, Trajan. Drag queen, male transvestite crossdresser is from 1941. Trojan, nigga. That's Yiddish. Can't make this shit up. In the 17th century, these were units fighting on foot, as in the case of the Western Europe prototypes, and armed with muskets, arquebuses, half hooks, pistols, and sabers. Most commonly used set of weapons was a fused musket, two-wheel pistols, and a saber or scabbard. 18th century, Dragoon advance guard regiments were the most valuable cavalry formations of the Army of the Republic of Poland, maintaining order in the country and fighting primarily with the rebellious Ukrainian Cossacks. Name referring to a multi-ethnic population group with dominant Ruthenian substrate inhabiting the steppes located south of the Ruthenian motherfucking Caucasus, Republic of Poland and Russia. All right. Bro. So let's read about them, shall we? After trying unsuccessfully to peacefully resolve the conflicts between North and South, the Knights of the Golden Circle threw its full support behind the newly created Confederate States of America and added its trained military men to the Confederate States Army. I said it added its trained military men to the Confederate States Army. Several Confederate military groups during the Civil War were composed either totally or in large part of members of the Knights of the Golden Circle. One notable example of KGC military participation in the Civil War included the Confederates' Western Expansion Movement of 1861, and I think I read that already, but fuck it, I read it again. In 1861, Albert Pike traveled to Indian Territory. And you know, now that we looking at this picture right here, niggas talking about the nigga being mulatto, that's why he looked dark and all. No, he from over there with them, bro. In 1861, Albert Pike traveled to Indian Territory and negotiated an alliance with Cherokee's chief, Stand Watie. All right? Trying to tell you niggas, bro. You niggas, man. Prior to the beginning of hostilities, Pike helped Watie to become a 32nd degree Scottish Rite Mason. Watie was also in the KGC, and he was later commissioned a colonel in command of the 1st Regiment of Cherokee's Mounted Rifles. All right?
Because you're going to smell my cologne. Intimate Yaki on some bar number 9, but I do not play.
That's the same clone I wear.
Yes, tabernacle, sanctuary, because we keep God first in everything we do.
I said, in 1861, Albert Pike traveled to Indian Territory and negotiated an alliance with Cherokee chief Stan Watty. Prior to the beginning of hostilities, Pike helped Watty to become a 32nd degree Scottish Rite Mason. Watty was also in the KGC, and he was later commissioned a colonel in command of the 1st Regiment of Cherokee Mounted Rifles. In May 1864, Chief Watty was promoted to the rank of Brigadier General in the Confederate States Army, making him the only Native American, quote unquote, of this rank in the Confederate Army. Watty's command was to serve under CSA officers Albert Pike, Benjamin McCullough, Thomas Hinman, and Sterling Price. They fought in engagements in Indian Territory, Kansas, Arkansas, Texas, and Missouri. One of the most feared organizations of all Confederates, whose members were in large part Knights of the Golden Circle, was what was called Quantrell's Guerrillas or Quantrell's Raiders. The Missouri-based band was formed in December 1861 by William Clark Quantrell and originally consisted of only 10 men who were determined to right the wrongs done to Missourians by Union occupational soldiers. Now, here it says the rights to right the wrongs done to Missourians by Union occupational soldiers. Now, that's the Mormons that got driven out. But you don't know that. They just Missourians. All right? Because remember, I'm getting this from them. So they trying to tell each other what's going on without us knowing. But I'm going to show you, it's finna get real heavy, bro. What time is it? These nigga, bro, fuck time. Time don't exist. The fuck is you talking about? You immortal. Time is now, nigga.
Settle this like you got some clans, so we can get into some gangsters. We can get into some gangsters.
Shit crazy. It says their mortal enemies were the Kansas Jayhawkers and the Redlegs, who were the plague of Missouri. Okay, well, I guess that's our context clue. Somebody could let us know who the Jayhawkers and the Redlegs are. Said they were the plague of Missouri. So that's, that'll let us know who they was really with. As the war raged on in Missouri and neighboring states, Quantrell's band attracted hundreds more men into the ranks. And I do know from actually this book, A History of Succession from 1831 to 1861. Oh, no, that's the one we finna read from. It's the other book. Oh, it's the Jesse James book. And there's a picture of a member of the Quantrell gang, and it was a nigga, or Aboriginal. Because Jesse James' right-hand man was an Aboriginal. But they don't tell you that. And see, I found that out when we was doing the study, and I was finding out about the Black KKK members, because this shit is like, it's just the same brotherhoods. They just renaming shit, recycling shit. All right, because at the same time one thing is said to disappear, the same kind of shit reappear with another motherfucking name. All right, but niggas don't study enough, so they really can't connect the dots. They don't know how motherfuckers was warned with Mormon motherfuckers to try to push them out of Missouri. You know what I'm saying? And they pushed their ass to Texas. All right. And then we just seen the other Texas boy. He out there just claiming shit. Telling nigga exterminate all these motherfuckers. All right. And that's on the Illuminati hotline coming up, but that's all the cartel shit. And we gonna get into that. We gonna show and prove, because that's what we do. I'm telling you, I know this shit. I'm gonna show y'all now.
That's the same clone I wear.
Sanctuary, because we keep God first in everything we do.
I'm gonna show you I know it too.
What's this guy's name? It's something Hawk. And it may sound stereotypical, but dude looks like he's done some time and sounds like he's done.
As the war raged on in Missouri and neighboring states, Quantrell's band attracted hundreds more men into its ranks. Quantrell's guerrillas became an official arm of the Confederate Army, and that's guerrilla Guerrillas, not to be confused with the animal. Quantrell's guerrillas became an official arm of the Confederate Army after May 1862, when the Confederate Congress approved the Partisan Ranger Act. All right? So they just making these niggas the army. Other leaders of Quantrell's guerrillas included William C., quote-unquote, Bloody Bill Anderson, David Poole, William Gregg, and George Todd. Some of the major engagements this deadly guerrilla force participated in included the Lawrence, Kansas raid on August 21st, 1863, the battle near Baxter Springs, Kansas in October 1863, and two battles at and near Centralia in Missouri in September of 1864. The bulk of Quantrell's band wintered in Grayson County, Texas from 1861 through 1864. So you got to think how these niggas just riding through this motherfucker. From A History of Succession from 1834 to 1861 comes this insight into the rituals of the Knights of the Golden Circle. This entire work is rather lengthy, but very revealing. Let's go into that, why don't we? Yeah, we got it. There go your pirates. There go your everything. These your baby eaters. These your real savages, all right? These are Cossacks. All right? These niggas in history fucking shit up. They still got their haircuts and all that shit. Yeah, go and download that shit. Let's get it. Keeping that one. We got the Cyclopedia. 1,048 pages, bro. All right. It says the Dajjal, the Antichrist, will be one-eyed. All right. That's what they taught me when I was a kid. Watch for the Antichrist. He's going to be one-eyed. The Dajjal. Cyclopedia, or a universal dictionary of arts and sciences containing the definitions of the terms and accounts of the things signified thereby in the several arts, both liberal and mechanical, in the several sciences, human and divine, the figures, kinds, properties, productions, preparations, and uses of things natural and artificial, the rise, progress, and the state of things ecclesiastical, civil, military, and commercial, with the several systems, sects, opinions among philosophers, divines, mathematicians, physicians, antiquaries, critics, etc., is the title.
So you gonna smell my cologne.
That's the title.
What's this guy's name? It's something Hawk. And it may sound stereotypical, but dude looks like he's done some time and sounds like he's done some.
Let's get into these rituals, though. See, that's how I be. That's why I be ready to goddamn do the live stream, but the whole time I be like, I just keep reading shit, bro. And I read hella fast, like in my mind. That's why sometimes I be stumbling, because I gotta slow down. But you know, if a motherfucker talk to you, and that's my gift, it's like a motherfucker talking to me. And if a motherfucker talking to you, they ain't gonna be like, there are 3 degrees to the order. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, bro. I'm just trying to tell you, when you read the shit, read like a motherfucker talking to you, bro. That's all they doing. They talking to you. Because when I, you know what I'm saying, took English composition 1 and 2 in motherfucking college, you know what I'm saying? Motherfucking, I realized, you know what I'm saying, as I'm writing, and I got an A in both, I might add. You know what I'm saying? I dropped out, nigga. I got my motherfucking fake ass diploma and enrolled in college after my old bird pass. You know what I'm saying? Just to level up, you know what I mean? For her sake. So, for my own sake, for real. But long story short, I realized the thing I was doing wrong was I was writing like I talk. You know what I'm saying? And you can't write like you talk. You gotta, like, how can I say it? It's like you gotta write like you talking, but you can't write like you talk. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that makes sense, but because there's certain rules. I can't start a sentence without a subject. My problem was run-on sentences, and what's this shit called? What's the shit? I don't even remember because I fixed it. But I don't know if it's the fractured sentences or whatever. I wasn't putting a subject on there. You know what I'm saying? I put a period like I'm done talking, but then I just keep talking about the shit without redefining the subject at the beginning of the sentence. You know what I'm saying? Because the shit witchcraft, bro. You know what I'm saying? So it's rules to the witchcraft. That's why you got to have a subject. You know what I'm saying? You can't start the sentence without a subject. You got to have a defined subject, defined actions, all this shit. You know what I'm saying? Because this shit is something different, bro. Bro, these Europeans, you motherfuckers came over here in these 1800s, all that 1900s, all the motherfuckers, they come barely, bro, they can't speak English. How they gonna know how to read and write, bro? Come on, bro, use your fucking brain. They can't even speak English, nigga. You know they can't read and write, nigga. Is you stupid, bro? How you know? They can't speak English, nigga. The fuck? Easy. None of these motherfuckers can read and write. All right? But niggas over here knowing Latin, Greek, Arabic. This shit is verifiable, bro. Primary sources, verifiable, bro. On everything I love. Hebrew, Aramaic, cuneiform. What the fuck is you talking about? Stupid motherfuckers. But this shit right here, see, this is, you know what this is now? I found this nigga from the 1960s. He gonna tell you who it is. He gonna tell you who it is. So when you watching Illuminati Hotline and nigga talking about motherfucker running up in that shit, yeah, you know. Know what I'm saying? We connecting the dots over time. And that's why it's an issue. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you thought that was the Statue of Liberty? Oh, she bringing light to Asia. That's what she's supposed to be doing. All right. I don't give a fuck what none of these niggas told you. We deep diving. Atlantis is rising. You know what I'm talking about?
Because you going to smell my cologne. Insimiyaki. On some bone number.
Yeah. That's something different. And you see what she throwing up? All right. That's just like, you know, the flag of Islam was a black flag, my nigga. Wasn't no star and crescent on the flag. But she don't have nothing to do with Islam. It's her flag. All right. You can even look it up in the prophecies when they talk about the last days in Islam. It said the black flags of Khorasan. Gonna ride against the motherfucking Dajjal, ride against the one-eyed Antichrist, the black flags. All right. ain't got nothing to do with no color, bro. That shit all upside down, man. Inside out. Well, Diana Ross say, upside down. More you turn me inside out. Round and round. Witchcraft shit, bro. I'm on my high shit, fly shit. You know what I'm talking about? Let's get these downloads. The ritual of the Knights of the Golden Circle. There are 3 degrees in the order, to the order. The first, military. All right? It's 1861. There are 3 degrees to the order. Oh, you thought it was going to be, I know the 3. You don't know what the fuck you talking about, bro. That's why I had to let it, it's marinate. You ain't prepared. I ain't never seen this shit. There are 3 degrees to the order. The first, military. The second, financial. The third, governmental. The ritual of the first degree contains little of special importance. We will here premise that the reading of the rituals is entirely unintelligible except by the aid of keys, a great many numerical figures being substituted for words. We are in possession of the keys, and in what we publish of the rituals we shall give in just as we find it, putting into parentheses the meaning of the figures. The 2 following paragraphs are from the obligation taken in the first degrees, the words of the first being spoken by the treasurer and those of the second by an officer called the captain. Now pay attention, because we got the keys, my nigga. We got the keys. We got the keys.
What's this guy's name? It's something Hawk.
We got the keys.
And it may sound stereotypical, but dude looks like he's done some time. And sounds like he's done some time.
Cover up. The Aboriginal.
We got the keys. We got the keys. Press 1. 1 is for 1. This shit really disturbing, bro. Cause like these is the motherfuckers that's goddamn grabbing up the motherfucking kids, doing all crazy shit. Motherfucking, bro, I got some mind-blowing shit. Like the shit I got lined up for y'all, upcoming shit, like, bro, this shit, it's probably gonna be deleted as soon as goddamn I watch it. You know what I'm saying? Then you got them sending their motherfucking agents in this motherfucker talking about what they finna do to the nigga channel. You know what I'm saying? So go subscribe to Atlantis Republic. So I'll back up. And we're gonna get about 10 more channels. Stay tuned. But right now, go to Atlantis Republic. You know what I'm talking about? Long live the Republic. Yeah, long live the Republic, motherfuckers. They wasn't expecting no niggas like us, tribe. I digress. Treasurer, gentlemen, we must now tell you that the first field of our operations is 2, Mexico. All right? So I need somebody to keep track of these numbers. Can anybody in the chat? I want you to keep track of these numbers for us. Do that for us. Somebody got it in their notes, somebody that's just chilling. And then we're gonna put it in the put it in the comment. Copy paste that bitch, put in the comment, and then I'm gonna put it in the goddamn description and shout you out. You know what I'm saying? Real nigga shit. Whoever do it. Cause it's a heavier code than what we know. That I know. And that's why I'm really like doing this at a moderate pace. Because we gotta, for instance, I knew this page was gonna give me trouble. This they shit. I got them talking to each other. I'm all on their threads, all types of shit, man. I'm on their threads, man. I'm not bullshit, bro. I'm on their ass, dog. I told y'all. Wasn't no mercy for these motherfuckers. The first Baconian Rosicrucian AA headpiece to appear in a Shakespeare play, namely The Taming of the Shrew. All right. And this is one of their little words. It's called the AA headpiece. Nigga think I'm a motherfucking Freemason. You know what I'm saying? To this point, because I know shit they granddaddy don't know.
You can settle this like you got some plans, so we can get into some gangsters.
What's this guy's name? It's something Hawk. And it may sound stereotypical, but dude looks like he's done some time, and sounds like he's done some.
Now, and that's because there's codes in these letters, all right? In these certain title pages and shit, for instance. And I watched a whole bunch of videos about it and shit like that, but that's not what this is about. But I want you to see, like, how they talking to each other. Thank you again for sharing. This is the very first time that I see the title pages of the 1594 edition of the Taming of the Shrew, quote unquote. And I'm really sorry, but you know, I see codes everywhere. This is just an idea, but maybe that the name of Shakespeare does not appear on this title page because the play is the fruit of, quote unquote, the pleasant harp of Bacon, our Apollo. Okay, our Apollo. Brilliant spot. Until you pointed out on the title page of the 1597 quarto edition of Richard II. As far as we are aware, you are the first to notice this. Another world first to add to your already growing list. Thank you. And A and Con always get my attention. Pyramid. All right. The Baconian Rosicrucian AA headpiece in the 1609 edition of Shakespeare. And what this AA headpiece shit is the motherfucking, all this shit break down into motherfucking code. All right. For the purpose of encipherment of the title pages of the sonnets is divided into two halves. On the top half of the page, there's a total of 39 letters, F Bacon in simple cipher. The whole page has a total of 111 letters, Bacon in K cipher. On the bottom half, there are 16 italic letters, and the addition of the date is 16 plus 1 headpiece. 16 plus 16 plus 1 equals 33. Bacon in simple cipher. All right, niggas dropping out the stream. They hiding my numbers. I wouldn't give a fuck if it was just me and goddamn Hanasho and the Godfather, goddamn Empress, Summer, Rain, in this motherfucker.
Cause you gonna smell my cologne. Intimate on the bar number 9. Cause I do not play.
Hey,
That's
man,
same clone I wear.
Tabernacle, sanctuary. Cause we keep God first in everything we do.
Let me get this on my computer, cause this shit, I'm just goddamn blowing it up. I'm gonna just drop this, drop this in the motherfucking chat. There you go. Say that in your history, man. Figure that shit out. Go to your homework.
What's this guy's name? It's something Hawk. And it may sound stereotypical, but dude looks like he's done some time. And sounds like he's done some.
Shut up, bitch. Two is Mexico. Are you understand on task? Gentlemen, we must now tell you that the first field of our operation is number 2, Mexico. But we hold it to be our duty to offer our services to any southern state to repel a northern army. We hope such a contingency may not occur, but whether the Union is reconstructed or not, the southern states must foster any scheme having for its object the Americanization and southernization of 2, so that in either case our success will be certain. Captain, under the laws of 2, every immigrant, and now that's an immigrant, receives from the state authorities a grant of 640 acres of land. All right. Under a treaty closed with 3, Manuel Doblado, governor of Guanajuato. On the 11th of February, 1860, we are invited to colonize in 2, to enable the best people there to establish a permanent government. We agreed to introduce a force of 16,000 men, armed, equipped, and provided, and to take its field under the command of 3. Who agrees to furnish an equal number of men to be officered by KGCs. All right, so now that's 32,000. To cover the original expenses of arming our forces, there is mortgaged to our trustees the right to collect 1/2 the annual revenues of 4, Guanajuato, until we are paid the sum of 840,000 as a bonus. Hold on. Until we are paid the sum of 840,000. So somebody let me know, one of you smart motherfuckers, what's 1841? In 1861, what's 840,000? What's that worth? Yeah, invited to colonize. Who invited them? 3. Where he invited them to? 4. What they trying to do? Run 2. Press 1. The 1 is for 1 because we already won. These days got to be dumb. You shine like the sun. You ain't never gonna run. Then I'm done. It's good read. That's all. I digress. I told you it's the cartel. It's the Mormons. We got the motherfucking Mormons down there selling fucking cookies with the goddamn kids. There's 4 motherfucking kids in the yard on a motherfucking compound. All right, they letting them play on the compound. You ain't never seen Epstein's ranch in New Mexico? You don't know about that, do you? Stay tuned, man, for Illuminati Hotline, man. We got that on deck. So when you see it, you know what I mean? Tune in. That's why I say we connected too many dots. Because remember, this is the KKK. These the same motherfuckers who was burning down your great grandma in them house, running up in they shit, burning down the motherfucking orphanage. These niggas right here, these the red shirts, paramilitary, burning the polls, making niggas scared to go vote. You know what I'm saying? Because they taking over the government. All right, this how they all connected. See, because they already going down here to Mexico when they talking about some motherfucking some Nazis done goddamn flee to motherfucking Mexico. Who shit they people been down there already, nigga? Fuck is you talking about? Who you thought was down there? What they say? Who you thought was down there? The names have been changed to protect the innocent. What's that? Dragnet? Damn. Ain't that Dragnet? Hunter Show? No, that's an old ass nigga show. It just came out my subconscious. Them niggas, old niggas watching that around me. Dragnet. Ain't that what it's called? Yeah, man. They been down there. As a bonus, there is also ceded to us 355,000 acres of land. The pay of the army is the same as the regular army of 2, which is about 1/8 more than that of the United States. To secure this, there is mortgaged to us all the public property of 4. I said all the public property of 4.
Cause you gonna smell my cologne. Instant and yakin on the bar number 9. Cause I do not play.
That's Central and I
Yeah, tabernacle, sanctuary. Cause we keep God first in everything we do.
All the public property. Amounting in taxable value to $23 million. I said $23 million. Bro, $23 million in 1861, bro. Somebody please tell me how much money that is. $23 million, bro. Where you think these niggas went? Where you think they went? Where did the nigga with $23 million go in motherfucking 1861? But you thought he fell off? You thought him and his people fell off, huh? You thought they fell off? You thought they fell off? They ain't fall off, man. Manuel de Blado, governor of Guanajuato, is now there making arrangements for our reception. We shall cross over as soon as possible after our national troubles are settled. I will now give you the signs, grips, passwords, and tokens of the first degree of the KCG. Of course, a misprint for KGC. I don't think you niggas is paying attention, bro. I don't think
Cause you gonna smell my cologne. Instant and yakin.
Is it too small?
On the bar
Pause.
number 9. Cause I do not play.
That's Central and I
Yeah, tabernacle, sanctuary. Cause we keep God first in everything we do.
Of course, it's a misprint. Forward, backward, backward, forward, upside down, inside out, round and round. This shit ain't easy, man. We just make it look easy. This degree has a name which I may now give you. It is the I. Knight of the Iron Hand. The first great sign of the order is thus made 7. Correction. It is the 1. Walk with me, man. The first gray sign of the order is thus made, 7. Hands open, palms touching and resting on the top of the head, fingers pointed upwards. The answer to this is 8. Open the hands, touching the shoulder where epaulets are worn, elbows close to the side. These are battlefield signs that are not to be used under ordinary circumstances. The common sign of recognition is 9. Right forefinger drawn across the upper lip under a nose as if rubbing. The answer 10 with forefinger and thumb of left hand taking hold of left ear. To gain admission to a working castle, all right, because the castle is the lodge. All right. To gain admission to a working castle or the room of any KGC, give 11. One distinct rap at the door. The sentinel on duty will then raise the wicket and demand the countersign, which is 12. Soldiers, always lettered except at castle door. You will then pass to the center of the room and give the true sign of the KGC. It is 13. I said the true sign of the KGC is 13. Okay. This is Hawk School for the Gifted and the Elect. Did we mention that, y'all?
What's this guy's name? It's something Hawk. And it may sound stereotypical, but dude looks like he's done some time. And sounds like he's done some.
Some of this might be over some people's heads. Stick around. You'll catch up. You fear of us. Atlantis is rising. Right.
Cause you gonna smell my cologne. Intimidate on the bar number 9. Cause I do not pray.
That's the same clone I wear.
Yes, tabernacle, sanctuary. Cause we keep God first in everything we do.
Left hand on heart, right hand raised. This will be recognized by a bow from the captain when you will at once take your seat. The sign of ascent is 14, both hands up. Of descent, 15, one hand up. The grip is 16. Press with thumb 1 inch above second knuckle. The token 17, golden circle encasing block hands closed on scroll. The whole to be the size of a dime. Every member may wear the sign of his degree. And now, reader, you know as much about the signs, grips, tokens, etc. of the Knights of the Golden Circle as they themselves do. We may here remark that the initiation fee for the first degree is $1, for the second $5, for the third $10. From the second or financial degree, we need give but little. The following is the closing part of the initiation. Captain, the headquarters of this organization are at 23. All right. Monterey, where most of the stores and munitions are deposited. Financial headquarters are at blank. Told you 23 important to him. All this shit is important to him. And see, what I'm starting to realize is these is like the minions of the fallen. All right, they worship the jinn and shit. Because they the adversaries do boys. And that's why, you know what I'm saying, when you see them in the chat and shit like that, like the niggas get you so irritated because that's what they come. When my nigga Reverend X be saying who name you coming in, nigga? And by who authority? You know what I'm talking about? That's what he talking about.
Giving you more of what you hoping for. You ain't hoping in the Lord, huh? You hoping in vain, material, superficial shit. That's why you can't see me, house niggas.
I'm talking about straight business, man. I know they don't like me. They be all on the internet talking about the pimp. Pimp rap like he writing nursery rhyme. Pimp this and pimp that. You know what though, bitch? Say you put your real motherfucking address and your phone number on that shit. You ain't said nothing, nigga. Hide behind them email address. You a hoe.
Not even how you thought. Niggas, check-up time. Time to pay the piper. Well, you don't have to, huh? You got rights to believe however you want to, huh? There's only one God. There's only one blood covenant book that's floating around here of God Almighty. Not a covenant of a man what makes house niggas, Ku Klux Klan members, and everyone to feel like they can just shuffle their ass foot about getting about the business I'm talking about.
The exceptional nigga.
Bright day, huh, bright boy?
Sun is up.
Shining on all of us.
We're going to fast forward a bit. It says, now it remains for us to give the ritual of the third degree, which as being the most important, we shall publish almost entire. We have not the time or space for commenting on it now. Every citizen can judge it for himself. The Roman Catholics and the foreign-born population will see how they are prescribed by this mysterious order. This central and guiding power of the succession and disunion party, all will see too that the order declares for a monarchy, a limited monarchy as they call it, until all their purposes in regard to Mexico shall have been accomplished. And we need not suggest how brief will be the period within which, if they get their limited monarchy, they will make it the absolute monarchy. Instructions. Officer of the council shall be a governor and a secretary every 57. Every 57. That's a Knight of the Columbian Star. Is qualified to act in either capacity. One is the first order, the order of the Iron Hand. 2 is Mexico. 3 is Dabaldo. 4 is Guanajuato. Is y'all keeping track of this shit, bro? I can't memorize all this shit by myself, bro. Straight up. I know 13.
What's this guy's name?
Candidates must be familiar with the work of the 2 former degrees, must have been born in 58, a slave state. Or if in 59, a free state, he must be a citizen. 60, a Protestant. And 61, a slaveholder. A candidate who was born in 58 need not be a 61, provided he can give 62 evidences of character as a Southern man. Object to form a council for the 33, the KGC. Are you following me?
What's this guy's name? Something Hawk. And it may sound stereotypical, but dude looks like he's done some time. And sounds like he's done some time.
And to organize 63, a government for 2. Number 57, Knight of the Columbian Star shall admit, except to a brother, 57, that he has this degree. For reasons that will hereafter appear. Any 2 57s can confer the degree on others. The oldest 57 acting as the governor. Approaching candidates, of course, all 33. Knights of the Golden Circle know each other. There being 2 57 in hailing distance of the courthouse of said county, that is 64 within the county. They will confer together as to worthiness of any 33 whom they may think a proper person to be made a 57. All right? So any 33, all right, whom they may think a proper person to be made a 57. Whoever they pick.
What's this guy's
This shit
name?
is from
It's something
1861.
and it may sound stereotypical, but dude looks like he's done some time and sounds like he's done some.
From 1861, bro. It's the blueprint. We got the keys, nigga. We just told them they had the keys. Who got them now, motherfucker? We got the keys. Press 1. We got the motherfucking keys now. They will confer together as to the worthiness of any 33 whom they may think a proper person to be made a 57, and having agreed, one or both of them will go to the person, each knowing the other is a 33, and tell him that there is a gentleman, 64, within this county who has the power to confer the third degree. Now remember, 64 means within this county. All right, it's reference right here, 64, within this county. 57 is the governor. 33 is the KGC. $57 is the Knight of the Columbian Star. You getting all this? You wasn't supposed to have this, nigger.
Cover up! The Aboriginal member of our people here in the West.
Don't forget to tell them that the fee will be $65. $10. If he assents, propose a time and place and be punctual. Let it not be exactly the place where the degree is to be conferred, but near. The 57 Knights of the Columbian Star act as if they also sought the degree. Also, tell the candidate that as he or you may be rejected, it will be expected that he will not mention the matter to anyone till the result is known. When in the room, the governor will take the Bible and will cause all to lay their hands thereon, when each will repeat after the governor the following initiation. We three, or any other number as the case may be, citizens of 58, a slave state, do hereby and herein in the presence of each other and great Jehovah, solemnly and sincerely, oh shit, I ain't finna be quoting that shit. I stuck a lot. Wuzu billahi minash shaitanir rajim.
What's this guy's name? It's something Hawk.
They sincerely pledge and with their faith and honor to conceal and never reveal to any mortal being a slave, save, such as we know to be a 57, Knight of the Columbian Star. Any circumstances or thing that may here transpire during the next hour, and to keep the knowledge of the hour forever secret from all but 57. Fuck they secrets.
Because you're going to smell my cologne. Intimate
Where my boots
on
parked?
the bar number 9. Because I do not play.
That's Central and outrageous.
Tabernacle, sanctuary.
Fuck yeah, they almost got me.
Everything we do.
Motherfucker, blood's gonna be dripping off the ceiling of this motherfucker, boy. Slick motherfuckers. Nice try, motherfucker. Got me fucked up. Shit, me. It's me, man. Yeah, they try to get a nigga, dog. Hey, man, and the reason why I ain't fucking with them because these motherfuckers is really demons and shit, bro. Like, not all of them, some of them just the minions. But that's just that shit that Orlando Brown be talking about and y'all niggas think he crazy. We talking about these motherfuckers because they're cool. Drag cult. You know what I'm talking about? Crooks. Oh, Dragnet was right there. I ain't even read it. My high ass. Let's play this.
Today, a crown, flag, or impressive building are all symbols that you might associate with the leader of a country. In ancient Egypt, however, things were a little different. The crook and flail were symbols of the pharaoh, the ruling monarch in ancient Egypt. What did they look like? What did they represent? Let's answer those questions. Knowing the original function of the crook and flail helps us see how they were used as symbols representing roles of the pharaoh. The crook was known as the Heka in Egypt. It originated from the staff that shepherds used to protect their sheep. The crook represented the pharaoh's role as a shepherd in caring for the people of Egypt. The flail was known as the Nekaka in Egypt. It was a rod with 3 strands of beads attached to the top. Although historians cannot agree exactly what this was used for, there are 2 primary interpretations of its origin. The first is that it was a weapon used to defend a flock of sheep. In this interpretation, the flail represented the pharaoh's responsibility to establish the order through punishment, if necessary, that was essential to sustaining society. The second interpretation is that the flail was used as an agricultural tool to thresh grain. In this interpretation, the flail represented the pharaoh's role in providing for the people of Egypt and protecting land that could grow food for the people. Together, the crook and flail were used to represent the 2 most important roles of the pharaoh. The earliest depictions of the royal crook and the royal flail were found separately, but the crook and
Peace to the tribes, peace to the tribes, peace to the tribes. Let's continue, shall we? First one, if you're learning something, man. One is for one around here, you know what I'm talking about? WON1. We got the keys to Atlantis. Atlantis is rising.
Because you're going to smell my cologne. Intimate on the bar number 9. Because I do not play.
That's the same clone I wear.
Yes, tabernacle, sanctuary. Because we keep God first in everything we do.
Let's fast forward a bit. Governor, I am what you are, 57, which we know is a governor. You being the secretary and I the governor of this council, and I here promise to conscientiously do my duty at all times while I hold fellowship with the 33. But sir, you will explain why it was necessary to proceed as we have. So you also see this question answer format in the Lost Found Muslim Lessons, Supreme Wisdom, so the 120 or the 5%, you know. Same format. So now you see what happens at 33. We thus proceed because the laws of the order demand it, and because the order will lose its efficiency as soon as it ceases to be absolutely secret. It is not permitted that we shall be known to any person living except to those who are 57, governors, bays, I speak more than one language, my nigga. What can I tell you?
What's this guy's name? Something Hawk. And it may sound stereotypical, but dude looks like he's done some time. And sounds like he's done.
You will find nothing in the order of which to be ashamed. Not even the 33 must know who has this degree. This is perhaps the only real secret order in the world. It must be kept secret. Governor to candidate. I have a few questions to ask you, which I trust you will answer without reserve. For I pledge you my word as a man, as a 57, as a governor of this council, that I am in earnest in this work and would not have sought you out unless I had thought this whole work would meet your unqualified appropriation. Give me the sign, the password, and grip of a 1. Knight of the Iron Hand. Give me the signs, password, and grip of a 18. True faith. To what? 66. All right. So now we got 66, and that's the castle, which is a lodge. And I guess that's Route 66 on y'all.
What's this guy's name? It's something Hawk. And it may sound stereotypical, but dude looks like he's done some time. And sounds like he's done some.
That's Route 66. Man. Where were you born? Where was your father and mother born? Are you a 60? Protestant or a 67? Roman Catholic? What gang you in, nigga? All of this shit around us points back to this shit. Everything we've studied already has led up to this. Do you belong to any other secret society? All right. You took any other oaths already? Married or single? Are you 61, a slaveholder? Will you stand firm in your obligation to the 33? Do you believe in the religion of Jesus Christ? Are you willing to help in spreading it? Secretary, judging from what you have seen of the 33 Project, and by what you know of us, are you now willing to be united with us in a society from which you can never resign, but which can in no ways compromise you, since the only work and responsibilities we put on you are these: secrecy as to who the 57 are, to attend every call of a council made by the Governor General of this state, to do for every brother what every brother has sworn to do for you, to inform the nearest working brother known to you of danger to the 33 or 57, to exercise a cautious prudence in counteracting false impressions of the 33, and to report to 56, George Bickley, or his successor or successors in any improper or dangerous actions you may know of, to respond to the call of any brother in your country, and never to speak of the work and character of this degree of the 33 to anyone except 57, only as you express sentiments taught by the order. We shall not force you to work unless you desire to do so, but on the call of 5 brothers, you must respond, if it is in your power to do so. If it is in your power so to do. Once a 57, Knight of the Columbian Star, so you will live and die, though no mortal man may know it but 57. Governor, are you willing to proceed? Candidate answers yes. Secretary, every knee shall bend to God and every tongue confess his name. Brothers, we will kneel for prayer. Mr. Secretary, collect the fees of this or these candidates and we will proceed in the work of initiation. Obligation delivered by Governor. Before God and these witnesses, all right, this is vow. His vows to never reveal the signs, grips, passwords, tokens, or significance of the 57 to any man, woman, or child except to a 57 in good and lawful standing. I said in good and lawful standing. And then only as hereafter directed and for the lawful purposes of this order. And I pledge and commit himself fully and freely to each of the following obligations. All right, let's see what they are. I haven't read it. First one, if you learn a song, keep the algorithm cracking. Kind of quiet in them streets. You know they hiding this shit. Motherfucker had 300 views, bro. I post some bullshit. It's gonna do numbers. We don't give a fuck about that. Let's get back to it. What's his first promise? To conceal the names of the governor, the objects and character thereof, and never speak of the same as though I was a member, except to those who can give me our sacred word in such a way to satisfy me that they are a governor. All right. Now you see that they're taking the words away. You're supposed to be learning this shit. This they blueprint. This they keys. This is This the teacher's manual.
We can settle this like you got some class, so we can get into some gangsters. We can get into some gangsters.
Second, 2D. No matter what secrets may be given to me by a governor, if given as the secret of a governor, and because I am one, I will hold the same sacredly in my own knowledge and never recommunicate it, even if to a governor. Oh, also Knight of the Colombian Star. All right, they got the same number. Governor, I am what you are. All right, 57. Knight of the Colombian Star. All right. No matter what secrets may be given to me by 57, if given as the secret of 57, and because he is one, he will hold the same sacredly. Blah, blah, blah. He will never speak evil of a brother, 57, either before his face or behind his back, will never dishonor the wife or daughter of a 57, knowing them to be such, and I will shield and protect the character of all 57, blah, blah, blah. Third, I will oppose to the utmost of my ability and never consent but vote against the admission of any confirmed drunkard, professional gambler, rowdy, convict, felon, 68, that's abolitionist, Negro, Indian, minor, idiot, or 69, which is a foreigner. I was sounding good to y'all. Some of y'all niggas was ready to join. They was ready to join, man. But y'all, oh, that's pretty good here, my brother. Stupid motherfuckers.
Cause you gonna smell my cologne.
Slow your thirsty ass down.
That's same flowing out
right. Tabernacle, sanctuary, cause we keep God first in everything we do.
He said, he will oppose to the utmost of his ability and never consent but vote against the admission of any confirmed drunkard, professional gambler, rowdy, convict, felon, abolitionist, Negro, Indian, minor, idiot, or foreigner to membership in this department of the 33, but I will get as many good and eligible 70 Southern-born men to join this degree as I can. That's the 4th degree and the 5th. Or should I say that's the 4th promise and the 5th promise. All right? Asterisks. Three times. He promised that 3 times. Then he promises and vows that he will use his best exertions to find out any of and every abolitionist in my country, whether 71, man, woman, or child, and forward the name of such to 56, George Bickley, or his lawful successor, or in case I remain in the 72, United States, much like the 27. Didn't I say 27, 72? Did you follow? I told you this shit before I read it. I know how they rock it. Now that's some whole other Kabbalah shit, because you know these motherfucking real witches and warlocks. Like some of you niggas ain't even, bro. Like I'd be scared of some of the shit I had to read to figure out this shit that I'm figuring out to bring to y'all in the most understandable way that I possibly can. You know what I mean? They can hide the shit, you know, because they know it's me. They know it's me. That's why they be so enraged when I be in the chat and shit. I mean, on the panels and shit. That's why I cook they ass. They be enraged. They know. They know what flag I'm flying. This shit ain't got nothing to do with no religion over here. We know who we are. And that's why, you know, it's gonna become clear if you tune in and watch at least the next 4 to 5 upcoming live streams. I don't give a fuck what they about. The Illuminati hotline shit is gonna be a little more out there shit, you know what I'm saying? But it's all connected to the same history, these same people. If I know of any 68 abolitionists who was a 73, all right, it's a new one, stranger or traveler, trading with 100, trading with 100. Oh man, I'm so motherfucking 100, man. Who taught y'all this shit? The 100 is the Negro. I mean, I'm 100, man. Who taught us that? Because they say in this book in 1861, the shadow government, that the 100 is the Negro. If I know of any 68 who is a 73 trading with 100 or doing any other unlawful act, all right, this is an unlawful act. You trading with them? See, this is what happened to y'all. What happened to y'all? If y'all have so much power, what happened? We at war with the motherfucking devil, nigga. Fuck is he talking about, nigga? Stupid motherfucker.
Cause you gonna smell my cologne, intimidation, or the bar number 9, cause I do not pray.
That's the same clone I wear.
Yes, tabernacle, sanctuary, cause we keep God first in everything we do.
Hey.
He said, if I know of any 68 who is a 73 trading with 100 or doing any other unlawful acts, I will at once inform all 57 in my country. Shall call the 57 a meeting council that proper steps may be taken for 74. His exposure. If any 75 insurrection shall be started, and it comes to my knowledge, I will do all I have promised above. Or should my state or any other 76 southern state be 77 invaded by 68 abolitionists, I will muster the largest forces I can and go to the scene of danger if well and able to go. Now, see, this is the keys to everything else you're going to read. So when they showing you those numbers with the AA, Francis Bacon shit, all right, these are ciphers. Ciphers, codes, castles, and crosses. What the fuck you thought the title was for, man? Respectfully, I'm just saying, what the fuck you thought we was going to be talking about? Niggas be thinking I'm crazy. Nigga. I ain't the crazy one. I will muster the largest force I can and go to the scene of danger if well and able to go. I further promise to do all I can to build up a public sentiment in my state favorable to 18. The expulsion of free Negroes. Because now I'm looking at these numbers, man. This is a key. I'm going to rewind the video and write this shit down. This is a key to a whole bunch of shit. A whole bunch of bullshit. And I might include another video depending upon how this live stream go. These motherfuckers ain't going to let me see more than 50 motherfuckers in here. You know what I'm saying? For the time being, until I contract with them. I got a contract with the 33. All right. I further promise to do all I can to build up a public sentiment in my state favorable to 18, the expulsion of free Negroes, that they may be sent to 2. I further promise that no 79 free Negro shall marry 80, my slave, or 80 marry a 79 if I can prevent it. See, we want to put these people in bondage and keep them in bondage. I also promise to report to the Governor General of the state the names of all Roman Catholic ministers in my county, as well as of all 31 Northern teachers, and no 69 foreigners or 68 abolitionists shall ever receive this degree if I can prevent it. One negative vote only being necessary to reject anyone from receiving this degree, which vote must be taken before the candidate has been approached. I'll protect and defend all widows and orphans to the best of my ability, and especially those of a 57, and I vow I will never desert the 57 or their cause and aims while 3 members remain and consent to propagate it. And should they succeed in 82, conquering and southernizing the whole or part of any 2, Mexico, I will do all I can to prevent any 67 Roman Catholic from being appointed to any of the any office of profit or trust, and even in the 72 United States. I will also give the preference to a Protestant, and especially to a 57 Knight of the Columbian Star. I will do all I can as an honorable man to make a 58 a slave state of Mexico too. As such, I will urge its 83 annexation to United States. Otherwise, I will oppose it with equal zeal. Now, let's see the map of Mexico, 1861. Let's see if he's lying. I only got about 10 tabs open. They bullshit. It take this long. Niggas are gonna look it up on their own. Look. No, it just went blank. Oh, I ain't put nothing in there, y'all. I didn't type nothing in here. I ain't typed nothing in here. Fuck.
Because you're going to smell my cologne. Intimate Yaki on the bar number 9. Because I do not pray.
That's the same clone I wear.
Yes, tabernacle, sanctuary. Because we keep God first in everything we do.
So that's a succession, because it's from succession from 1834 to 1861. So I guess I should have started at 1834. This is Mexico after 1848. This territory lost by Mexico in 1848. Texas between 1836 and 1848. All right, so all of this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 states. New Spain in 1821, today's U.S. state overlay. All right, so in 1821, this was all New Spain. All right, pre-KGC. As such, I will urge its 83 annexation to 72, the U.S. Otherwise, I will oppose it with equal zeal. In 2, I will endeavor to cause to be open to the public of all 84. All right. He will cause his endeavor to cause to be open to the public all nunneries, monasteries, or convents. And there shall be no advantages of 67 Roman Catholic, which is not equally accorded to Protestant. The 50 Bible shall be adopted for use in all public schools, and any 85, motherfucking 85, bro. Goddamn priest, ain't that
something? What's this guy's name? It's something Hawk. And it may sound stereotypical, but dude looks like he's done some time. And sounds like he's done some.
The 50 Bible shall be adopted for use in all public schools, and any 85 who shall be detected in 86 gambling or violating the ordinances of religion shall be expelled from 2 Mexico. Any minister holding any place under the government must be 60 a Protestant. All civil places of prominence shall be given so far as my influence goes to 57 Knights of the Columbian Star. And when these are supplied to the 18, the true faith, then to the 1, Knights of the Iron Hand, I will advocate the establishment of a 63, a government, which shall place the power in the hands of the most educated and moral, and oppose the recognition of any 87, Negro, mulatto, Indian, or mixed blood to citizenship. I will sustain the effort to reduce the 88 peon system to 89 perpetual slavery, and to divide them to 1 Knights of the Iron Hand, 18 true faith, and 57 Knights of the Columbian Star, in the proportion of 1, 2, 3, to have and hold forever. But the same law shall be enacted for their protection as are recognized in every other 58 slave state. until the whole civil, political, financial, and religious reconstruction of 2 has been completed. I will recognize a 90 limited monarchy as the best form of 63 government for the purpose in view, since it can be made strong and effective. To prevent the entrance of any 68 abolitionists into Mexico, I will sustain a passport system, and any and every 73 stranger or traveler shall go before the customs officer at the port of his entry and there take an oath stating whether he intends to become a citizen, and if so, that he will and support the government then in existence, and that he will not interfere with the system of 89 perpetual slavery then recognized, but that he will obey the laws then recognized. If he be a traveler merely, he shall give up the passport to the chief of police on his entrance into each town, and which shall be returned to him on demand of the same officer when about to leave for another place. And any 73 stranger or foreigner who shall pass or attempt to pass without a passport shall be arrested and expelled from the country, and upon resistance he shall be shot. But every traveler so entering Mexico must be informed of this rule. The successor to the 56, George Bickley, must be over 30 years of age, of Southern birth, liberally educated, of 57, sound body and mind, and married, and a Protestant. He shall swear to carry out this policy to extend 91, it's a new number, slavery, over the whole of 92, Central America, if in his power. He shall try to acquire 93, new number, that's Cuba, and control 94, the Gulf of Mexico. No one else will I sustain, but for such a one who must be proposed by the 95 cabinet minister and elected by all 57 Knights of the Columbian Star, or a majority of them, I will sustain here, there, or elsewhere when the 33 Knights of the Golden Circle cross the 5, new number, Rio Grande. I will do all I can to send in 96, new number, recruits for the army. And if I should ever cease to be an active worker for the 57 Knights of the Columbian Star, I will keep secret what I know of their real character of the organization. I promise never to confer the degree in any other way than in the way I have here received it. And I will forward to 56 or to the governor general of this state the name and fees of every candidate whom I shall initiate as governor. In witness, I do voluntarily here in this present sign by name and P.O. address. Governor asks, will you sign? Secretary, perhaps you had better hear the whole decree and then sign, for unless we have your entire approbation, we do not wish to commit you to anything. I am well aware that this whole scheme is a bold and daring one that can but surprise you at first, as it did me. And for this reason, I beg to state a few facts for your consideration in the rise and progress of democracy in America. We have seen its highest attainment. In the very outset, it was based on a high religious principles and adopted as a refuge from despotism. In the North, Puritanism melted it and went so far as to leave out the natural conservative elements of all democracies. 97, domestic slavery. As a result, we have presented now social religions and political anarchy. From Millerism and spiritualism, every utopian idea has numerous advocates. The manufacturer is an aristocrat, while the working man is a serf. The latter class, constantly goaded by poverty, seek a change. They care not what it may be. Democracy unrestrained by 97, domestic slavery, multiplies the manufacturing classes indefinitely, but it debases the mechanic. Whoever knew a practical shoemaker or a maker of pinheads to have man's ambition? They own neither land or property and have no tie to the insidious of this country. The Irishman immigrates and the Frenchman remains at home. The one who hates his country, the other adores his. The Frenchman is a slaveholder and a man. The Irishman is a serf and an outcast. The South is naturally agricultural, and the farmer being most of time in the midst of his growing crops, seeing the open operation of nature, his mind expands. He grows proud and ambitious of all around. Blah, blah, blah. Everybody share the live stream, man. I'm gonna show you how they overthrew the government.
What's this guy's name? Something Hawk. And it may sound stereotypical, but dude looks like he's done some time. And sounds like he's done some.
You gonna smell my cologne. Intimidate on the bar number 9, because I do not pray.
That's the same tone I
Yeah,
wear.
tabernacle, sanctuary, because we keep God first in everything we do.
We'll build on that later.
What's this guy's name? Something Hawk.
The R is for revolution. Let's read from here. With the Texan Knights, however, there was one great obstacle in the way of progress: the large free laboring German population. The Germans in Texas had demonstrated to the world that they could even excel the quote-unquote nigger in the cultivation of the cotton plant. This was considered as a very dangerous argument against the quote-unquote peculiar institution. The great plea in favor of slavery in the South had ever been that cotton could not be grown without African service, and that the whole intelligent world should see a practical demonstration of its fallacy was something that the chivalry never could submit to. The Germans had become thoroughly acclimated in being very healthy and prolific, bid fair to seriously undermine and ultimately destroy the slave interests of Texas. Fully conscious of these facts, the members of the KGC began and carried out such a system of abuse and oppression towards this valuable class of citizens as finally resulted in the exodus of the entire German population, 25,000 from Texas to Mexico. In the early part of the spring of the present year, 1861. All right. Now we see them Germans are still down there. But they Mormons now, and they speak Spanish. All right, remember all this. And I wonder who the Africans this nigga talking about. Because that's the first time we seen that. We didn't see the term African anywhere in the oath. Very interesting. Didn't mention African now that I think about it. Didn't take any oath against any Africans, did they? I digress. All through the year 1859, the Knights were working with unabated energy for the increase of their numbers and the firing of the Southern heart. 1860 found them making great preparations for the presidential campaign of that year. It had been strongly indicated by the Democrats of the Great Northwest at their recent state elections that a less conservative man than Douglas will receive very few of their votes for the U.S. presidency. In the coming contests and from the strong opposition to him by Southern fire eaters and Northern dough faces in the National Congress of that year, it was clear that a division and consequent defeat of the Democratic ticket could be easily effected and an excuse by that means afforded for the consummation of their great leading design. And I want you to remember, before any nigga come comment about some old African shit, bro, this is the fucking a member, nigga. All right? So we ain't gonna get all wrapped up with what the nigga's saying. We just letting them talk yourself into a motherfucking grave. May he burn in hell. Press 1. Respectfully. Perhaps no politician ever had a firmer hold upon the sympathies of his adherents than Mr. Douglas. Of this fact, the Knights were fully aware, and knowing that many of the prominent leaders of the Northern democracy were jealous of the little giant, quote unquote. It was duly arranged to secure their services both in Congress and the contemplated April convention, to the end of so dividing that body that a sufficient number might be drawn off to form another convention and nominate another candidate. Months before the meeting of the National Democratic Convention, men of the Yancey stripe had literally sworn in castle. All right. So now you know what's up with the castle. Yancey stripe had literally sworn in castle to split the convention and thereby utterly defeat its objects, or else entirely southernize it. The following from a speech delivered in the New Orleans castle will show the spirit and intent of the ultrist of that period. The speech was made at a meeting held January 11th, 1860. The next administration shall be purely Southern, or we will have no administration at all. We will have a strictly Southern rights Congress. If we can't have such a Congress at Washington, we will have it somewhere else. Our rights of property should be secured not only here and in the common territories, but all over the United States. Why can't we travel where we please with our Negroes and stay as long as we like without molestation? The powers at the national capital, under the influence of the abolition Puritans, will never, in my opinion, grant the just privileges claimed by Southern gentlemen. The Democratic Party North is fast selling itself out to abolitionists. And far from present appearances, we may expect that before another campaign, Steve Douglas and Fred Douglas will be spoken of as the candidates for the presidency and vice presidency to be nominated at a fusion convention composed of Black Republicans and squatter sovereignty Democrats.
What's this guy's name? It's something Hawk. And it may sound.
See, they Negroes is them Africans that they was grabbing up with they 6 ships. See, because they had ships that was grabbing up niggas off the African coast. All right, we already did that in the other bill, didn't we? Maybe I just read it and just remembered. No, I read it to y'all. I think it was on somebody else's live stream though. I think it may have been. I don't know. If not, then I'm gonna do a video just on that, because I'm doing some new shit. So you'll see. Just stay tuned. But I'm gonna get some of these readings more concise and shit, you know. Turn up. But he's worried about the Black Republicans and the squatter sovereignty Democrats. All right. We're talking about them scallywags, friends of the Negroes. Remember? Light-skinned niggas. I am, for one, an eternal for an eternal separation from this yellow skin, woolly head clique? Fred Douglass. I am for an out and out Southern man in 60. Now see? What number 60? Who in the chat? What the fuck is 60? I am for an out and out Southern man in 60. Well, 63 was the government, wasn't it? We don't expect Northern men to vote for him. We don't want them to. All right? Now watch how they run a play. Because the motherfuckers is so corrupt, they're going to show and prove what I've already been saying, what we've already realized, that they playing both sides. Order out of chaos. Two heads, one stomach.
Cause you gonna smell my cologne. Intimidate on the bond number 9. Cause I do not play.
That's the same clone I wear.
Tabernacle, sanctuary, cause we keep God first in everything we do.
We only want a man that a Southern gentleman can vote for with clean hands and a clear conscience. I would say give us Yancey or Jeff Davis. All right? Jefferson Davis, if you don't know. We can vote for such men as these conscientiously. We don't expect to elect them. We don't want to elect them according to the modes prescribed by the United States Constitution. We only want to show the North our hand and our strength. Let them elect their abolition candidate. Is there one here who does not hope they will? For my part, it has been my desire for over 10 years that the North would give us some good excuse for the dissolution of the Union. We as an order have been hoping and working for a long time for a separation from the North and the formation of a government of our own where we could, without any hindrance or drawback, carry out a purely Southern policy. At the coming Democratic Convention, we must have this order well represented. We must have men who will carry out our wishes. We must show the mulatto Democrats, Douglas men, that we will have men of our own selection. He must be a knight, and a good one at that. There's little doubt from the present bullheadedness of the Douglasites that this policy will result in the division of the convention and the nomination of two candidates, but that is just what we want. It will only assist the election of the abolition candidate, which, as I have before said, is the uppermost desire of our hearts. In that it will afford a lawful excuse for dissolving a union, which has for the past 30 years been the most formidable obstacle to Southern progress. The way in which the Knights proposed to divide the convention was to require at the hands of the conservative Northern democracy the most unqualified recognition of the rights of property in slaves, and it's a special congressional protection in all United States territories. From the popular expression of the Northwestern people at the ballot box at their recent elections, they knew full well their desire of disruption would be successfully attained by this requirement. In April 1860, the National Democratic Convention assembled at Charleston, and it seemed to be the universal desire of the conservative men to harmonize that body by making every personal concession consistent with what they had honestly believed to be a fair interpretation of the Cincinnati platform. They proposed to lay aside all the differences of the past, say nothing about recent quarrels, and simply adopt the old Cincinnati platform, with the mere addition that the slavery question in the territory shall be settled by the Supreme Court, presuming as they did that the Constitution of the United States, as interpreted by the highest of all judicial authorities, was a sufficient guarantee to the rights of property everywhere. If there had been any desire on the part of the Knights, as nearly all the Breckinridge men were, to forget old differences and reunite the party, they would have readily agreed to this proposition, but no such desire existed among them. Nothing but a full and explicit acknowledgement that neither Congress nor a territorial legislature could impair the rights of property and slaves, and that it was the duty of the federal government and all its departments to protect the rights of persons and property in the territories, and so here ever else its authority extends. would begin to satisfy them. Whenever a Southern man says quote unquote property, he means quote unquote niggers. So that what the Knights really desired of the Douglas men was that they should admit that no power on earth could in any way interfere with niggers. This admission they knew as well before as after the convention would not be made. Every man at all acquainted with the history of the past 5 years knows that Mr. Buchanan was elected upon the principle of non-intervention, and to presume that the conservative men of the Northwest could endorse congressional intervention to the, ridiculous and inconsistent extreme required by the Southern nigger, quote unquote, worshipers in the Charleston Convention. All right, was something that none but fools could do. Southern nigger worshipers. As my readers are all aware, the result of the unreasonable demands made upon the conservativeness with the division of the convention, or more properly speaking, the succession of the Knights and the formation of another convention. Both these conventions adjourned before arriving at any definite conclusion respecting the selection of a candidate to meet again at Baltimore in the month of June on the part of KGC. There was not the least intention of trying to consolidate matters at the subsequent meeting by the compromise, of any of their principles, nor did they anticipate any concession on the part of the conservativeness. They only desired to widen the breach, and all their pretensions to the contrary were the merest sham. In the interim between the two meetings, the Knights were busily engaged in castle, devising means whereby they might hold the organization at Baltimore and thereby force the Douglas men, light-skinned niggas, mulattoes, no doubt, to succeed. By this ruse, it was hoped to preserve for their faction the name of the quote-unquote the regular Democratic Convention, and thus more thoroughly divide the party. And it was duly arranged that if they could not succeed in this plan, they would cause the speaker, Mr. Cushing, to quote-unquote succeed, and by that means carry all the weight they possibly could with them. June arrived, and at the assembling of the convention, the Knights found themselves clearly beaten as it regarded their first plan, but the superior activity of the conservatives. By the superior activity of the conservatives. They even came very near being denied a seat in the assembly. They were consequently forced to their last plan as the only alternative. Respecting the movements of the two Baltimore conventions, the reader is doubtless informed, but it may not be out of the way here to present the expressions of those two bodies on the slavery question as found in their respective platforms. Here is what the Douglas Convention said. That inasmuch as differences of opinion exists in the Democratic Party as to the nature and extent of a territorial legislature, and as to the powers and duties of Congress under the Constitution of the United States over the institution of slavery within the territories, resolved that the Democratic Party will abide by the decision of the Supreme Court of the United States over the institution of slavery in the territories. Resolved that it is in accordance with the interpretation. Oh my fucking God, bro. I'm not a lawyer, bro. I don't give a fuck. The government of a territory is organized by an act of Congress, is provisional and temporary, and during its existence, all citizens of the United States have an equal right to settle with their property, niggers, in the territory without their rights. So they setting this whole shit up. He said 30 years. They've been trying to goddamn break up the union. All right. It is the duty of the federal government and all its departments to protect the rights of persons or property in the territories and wherever else its constitutional authority extends. So now when you see property, you know what it really means. Niggers. When the settlers in a territory territory having an adequate population form a state constitution, the right of sovereignty commences. And being consummated by their admission into the Union, they stand on an equality with the people of other states, and a state thus organized ought to be admitted into the federal union, whether the Constitution prohibits or recognizes the institution of slavery. With the exception of the last resolution appended to the Douglas platform. These platforms were both framed in Charleston, and I will remark just here that as it respects to the Breckinridge platform, which of course is all 57s, it had been drawn up in the Calhoun Castle at Charleston more than a month before the first meeting of the convention. In contrasting the above quotations, it requires no very great degree of perspicuity to determine which is the more conciliatory of the two, nor does it require very high development of the perceptives to see that the boasted quote-unquote national doctrine of non-intervention, of which we all heard so much in 1856, had been entirely abandoned by the secessionists as a political humbug, and they had fallen back on the old idea, always maintained by the Republicans, that Congress had a right to interfere with the institution of slavery in the territories, and that it was its duty to do it. The only difference between the Republicans and Breckinridge men on this point being that the former believed Congress should prohibit the introduction of slavery into the territories, while the latter taught that Congress should protect it to the full extent of its powers. So the Republicans don't want it. All right. So the niggas in power don't want slavery. Is everybody, are y'all following me? Are you with me? And I follow me as niggas reading along. The only difference between the Republicans, those are the Douglas, light-skinned niggas, and the Breckinridge men, the 57th, Knights of the Columbia Star, on this point being that the former, which would be the Breckinridge, all right, believe Congress should, the former is the Republicans, all right, because Breckinridge and the former, before he spoke of Breckinridge, would be the Republicans, all right. So the Republicans, the former, the Republicans, believe Congress should prohibit the introduction of slavery into the territories, all right, while the latter, the Breckinridge men, the 57, taught, not thought. These niggas paying good attention to their typos. I don't know if you just tuned in, but ain't no typo or accident.
Cause you gonna smell my cologne. Intimate Yaki on the bar number 9. Cause I do not play.
That's the same clone I wear.
Tabernacle sanctuary. Cause we keep God first in everything we do.
They taught that Congress should protect it to the full extent of its powers. Does it seem remarkably strange that with these facts before the intelligent world, the Knights should dominate the Republican Party, a sectional one, and base their excuse for succession upon its recent success and consequence? In this connection, I will quote from the Republican platform framed in Chicago, May 1860, the following, the 8th resolution of that document. That the normal condition of all the territory of the United States is that of freedom. The United States is 72, right? That our Republican fathers, when they abolished slavery in all our national territory, ordained that no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without the process of law. It becomes our duty by legislation, whenever such legislation is necessary, to maintain this provision of the Constitution against all attempts to violate it. And we defy the authority of Congress, of a territorial legislature, or of any individuals to give legal existence to slavery in any territory of the United States. This resolution may be said to embody the fundamental doctrine of the Republicans, respecting the relations subsisting between the general government and the United States territories. And it will be observed that they are in spirit the same as those of the Breckinridge Democrats, but very differently applied and directed. Now, respecting the Republican idea of the power of Congress to prohibit slavery in the territories, it had the decided advantage of legislative precedent from the earliest periods of our national history to within a few years past, and therefore, if we are to decide in favor of intervention at all, we must go with the Republicans. The principle of non-intervention was certainly democratic. The greatest objection to it, perhaps, was that it was too democratic to be applied to this age and this government. One of the principal causes of the destruction of the Grecian Republic was that its democracy was an advance of the intelligence of its people, and it may be that of late years, some of our American statesmen have, in their ambitious desire to attract the attention of the world and leave their mark upon the times, which under ordinary circumstances is commendable, endeavored to lead this nation beyond the capacity of its sovereigns. Where the motherfucking overthrow? Here's where they're showing how many men they got ready to fight for the overthrow. It says the foregoing letter I saw and read among the file papers of Jefferson Castle, Kentucky, and these were from Indiana alone, from what I could gather from prominent members of the order, I think. I may safely estimate the promised sympathetic aid of the several northwestern states as follows. Indiana, at least 10,000. Ohio, about 5,000. Illinois, 5,000. Pennsylvania, at least 15,000. New York, about 50,000. Iowa, 5,000. Michigan, 5,000. Total 95,000. You got 95,000 Knights of the motherfucking Golden goddamn cocksuckers ready to go. They ready. Besides the assistance expected from the above mentioned states, they look for a good deal from others, both in the way of men and money. At no time previous to the bombardment of Fort Sumter was it presumed that the number of men to be counted on from the north would fall below 100,000. And with these and the assistance of northern capitalists, northern engineers, manufacturers, etc., together with the heavy drafts to be made on the U.S. Treasury and the U.S. arsenals, it was confidently apprehended as nothing more than a breakfast spell to clean out the abolitionists, capture the Capitol at Washington, and kick Uncle Sam into non-entity.
Because you're going to smell my cologne. Intimidate on the bar number 9, but I do not pray.
That's the same clone I wear.
Yes, tabernacle, sanctuary, because we keep God first in everything we do.
About this time, a new emblem was added to the order. It was a simple triangular white card, all right, somewhat resembling the knight's spear, in the three corners of which were written the figures 7, 3, and 5. All right, this is page 23. And we saw that emblem earlier in the video. We're going to make them rewind it, tribe. I told you to remember it, nigga.
What's this guy's name? Something Hawk.
In the center of this card was printed the capital letter R, and immediately below this was written the number 61. Let the reader presume this card to be placed before him with a long, acute angle upward, as the upper part of the sphere in situ. Let him imagine the figure 7 in the left-hand corner, the figure 3 in the upper corner, the figure 5 in the right-hand corner. Now he should place the capital letter R in the center of the card, and 61 immediately under it. And it reads as follows, beginning with the capital R and running round the several angles of the card from left to right. R, revolution, 7, 3, 5 equals 15 of 15 states and 61. 1861, or revolution of 15 states in 61. All right. It's all codes.
What's this guy's name? Something Hawk.
Told you.
And it may sound stereotypical, but dude looks like he's done some time. And sounds like he's done some time.
It's all codes, man. Let me take a motherfucking break from reading, if you don't mind. We got these are Knights of the Ku Klux Klan. All right. It says Knights of the Ku Klux Klan, the bearer KLOL Truman. All right. They got KL in front of everybody. KL LC Wood, KL Arthur Chubbuck, KL LW Lessler, whose signature appears on the reverse side hereof, has been found loyal and worthy of advancement in the mysteries of clancraft, and has been passed to K Duo, or Knights Camellia, and is entitled to all the rights and privileges thereof. This certificate also entitles the bearer to all the rights and privileges of a clansman of K Uno, and witness whereof I have hereunto affixed my signature and the seal of my clan. No 20 Realm, New York.
What's this guy's name? Something Hawk. And it may sound stereotypical, but dude looks like he's done some time. And sounds like he's done some time.
Let's shout some people out, man. Then we're going to take a 1 minute break, man, and get back into the reading, because I'm going to be up reading this shit. You know what I'm saying? So press 1, man. You want me to keep reading this shit, man? That's all I want to do, man. Should we end it? Where we at? 2:47? Yeah, it might be getting a little long. Pause. Let's get to the overthrow, and then we'll take a break, man. And maybe I'll run it back with the Illuminati hotline shit, because it really connects to this. You know what I'm saying? And but I think you needed to know all this before we go on to the next lessons, and it's really gonna make sense to you. You know what I mean? Let's read. These cards were thrown about the streets and corners of many of the northern border cities nearly 2 months before the election. Let me find something else to put on the screen before they be goddamn. Let me put that on the screen, dude. These cards were thrown about the streets and corners of many of the northern border cities nearly 2 months before the election of Mr. Lincoln. All right, so everybody on come one accord as far as this timeline. All right. These cards were thrown about the streets and corners of many of the northern border cities nearly 2 months before the election of Mr. Lincoln. I have already intimated that secret arrangements had been made to secure a considerable portion of Uncle Sam's money at this period. This is true. Floyd and Cobb had taken all the necessary preliminary steps for the accomplishment of this object nearly 2 years previous to the time of which I am now writing. Plans for securing the arms of U.S. arsenals and possessing all the southern fortresses had been thoroughly matured about 1 year previous. Historical evidence of which is presented in succeeding pages of this work. In addition to the foregoing, by far the larger portion of the regular army had been distributed among various outposts in Texas and Utah, where it was quite out of reach. The Navy had been, with the exception of an insignificant home squadron, sent to the most distant foreign points by that poor, pitiful, nigger truckling Yankee, Isaac Toucey, in order that it might not be readily recalled. Further, it was arranged to send nearly every Navy officer of known loyalty abroad. I told y'all.
Cause you gonna smell my cologne. Intimate Yaki on the bar number 9. Cause I do not pray.
That's the same clone I
Yeah,
was.
tabernacle, sanctuary. Cause we keep God first in everything we do.
Further, allow me to reiterate. Further, it was arranged to send nearly every Navy officer of known loyalty abroad, while a large majority of those to be selected for the home squadron were knights of the genuine stamp. To Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, Arkansas, and Missouri, where it was known that the KGC were vastly in the minority, no arms were to be distributed, or at least as few as possible. Whereas in the Cotton States, where the order was pretty strong and where its members generally managed by hook or crook. To be at the head of all public affairs, large numbers were sent in order to more thoroughly prepare the people of the Gulf states for the anticipated revolution. It was resolved upon to use every means to make them believe that if Mr. Lincoln was elected, the almost immediate abolition of slavery in all slave states would follow, and that he, Lincoln, was in point of civilization, but a few removes from a Fiji Islander. So he's saying he ain't nothing but a nigga. The newspaper, under the control of the Knights, I said under the control of the Knights,
Settle this like you got some plans, so we can get into some gangsters. We can get into some gangsters.
The newspaper, under the control of the Knights, were constantly employed in giving the most distorted and unjust delineations of the character of the Republican nominees. Northern editors who wrote despairingly or abusively of Lincoln and the Republican Party were largely quoted from. And in small country sheets, which rarely ever reached a northern or border town, such quotations were miserably garbled and presented to the people vastly more unjust than they were originally. In many of the Gulf states, the common people were fully of the opinion that Mr. Hamlin was a mulatto from the newspaper descriptions they had read of him. Mr. Lincoln was generally believed to be a totally illiterate numbskull, as barbarous toward the southern slaveholders as a Hottentot, and as a dear lover of quote-unquote niggers as a German is of lager beer. It was even currently reported at one time that his wife was a quadroon. Meantime, such a course was to be pursued toward northern men caught up in the South of the slightest Republican tendencies as would stir up the indignation of the northern people. Men were to be tarred and feathered, ridden on rails, ducked in muddy water, and even hung or shot where any sufficient excuse could be had. In short, Every species of taunt and insult were to be used in order to arouse and irritate the North so that Mr. Lincoln's election might be all the more certain. The effects of ruffianism in Kansas had proven to them that the more they abused the North, the more intense would be its opposition to that institution, which really does seem to engender, either directly or indirectly, more grossness and brutality than almost any other known to the civilized world. Just here, I might relate a few incidents which occurred a short time before the presidential election, which fully illustrate the truth of what I have just been stating. In Nashville, Tennessee, about the middle of September 1860, they were found wrapped around some books, a few copies of the New York Tribune, in the trunk of a gentleman from Boston who had been teaching music in Nashville nearly 2 years. The mere finding of these papers in his possession was construed by the Knights into, quote-unquote, distributing incendiary documents. His conviction having been fully established by this mere fact, he was conveyed to a duck puddle and thoroughly soaked in its muddy contents. He was then gently tarred and feathered, ridden on a rail all around town, followed by a gang of the chivalry, quote unquote, and finally driven out of town by the locomotive, quote unquote, property, which it was thought his 2-year-old tribunes were likely to injure. So now you got everybody chasing you out of town. Because the quote unquote chivalry is a 57. And the property, so this Harriet Tubman and all these locomotives page 25. Shit crazy, bro. I don't know how niggas still sleep. Here it is. He was then gently tarred and feathered, ridden on a rail all around town, followed by a gang of 57. All right. And finally, driven out of town by the locomotive property, which it was thought his 2-year-old tribunes were likely to injure. It's the Underground Railroad. Stay slaves. Another instance, a quote-unquote Egyptian from Illinois who had been on a visit to some of his friends in Tennessee in September 1860 and who had been born and raised in that state was going home per railroad through Kentucky. An Egyptian? Born and raised in Illinois?
What's this guy's name? It's something Hawk. And it may sound stereotypical, but dude looks like he's done some time and sounds like he's done some.
I said an Egyptian from Illinois who had been on a visit to some of his friends in Tennessee in September 1860 and who had been born and raised in that state was going home per railroad through Kentucky. The train was pretty well filled with knights on their way to Louisville to assist in organizing a new castle in that place. Perceiving from his appearance that he was a northerner, they proceeded to cross-examine the quote-unquote Egyptian respecting his politics. Seeing from the complexion of things that the surrounding atmosphere was highly chivalrous and not being as successful a hypocrite as the subscriber, he endeavored to pursue the non-committal course, but that would not do. They only persisted the more urgently with their quizzings. Finally, he told them very frankly that he must come out. He expected to vote for old Abe, quote unquote, if he lived to the coming election. This acknowledgement was the signal for his hisses, groaning, jeering, etc. And finally, one of the crowd attempted to pull his nose. When he pulled off his coat, drew himself up a la Heenan, and swore most lustily that if they undertook anything of that kind, he would thrash the whole damn carload. Fortunately, the conductor and one or two other genuine Kentucky gentlemen induced the KGC to desist their more than heathenish conduct, but still they could not give the job up entirely, and when the train stopped at the next station, they induced the women and children from the adjoining cars to come and look at what they called the quote-unquote Lincoln animal. I did not learn whether they charged an admission fee at the door, but understood that many of the quote-unquote youngins considered it a very rare exhibition. In still another case, Judge Blank of Greencastle, Indiana, was visiting some relatives in the western part of Kentucky in the latter part of September 1860. Fuck all they little accolades. Page 33. This should be interesting.
What's this guy's name? It's something Hawk.
By the south would go very well. Let's start from here and see what it say. The latter consideration was one of no small value, since it was presumed that the offers of fair fair adjustment by the South would go very far to strengthen and increase their friends and disarm their foes in the North. During the early compromise discussions in Congress, many of the hotter secessionists in the Gulf state were declaring they would have no compromise. But Jeff wrote them to be still and allow things to work as long as they would work. As by that means, much valuable time was to be gained, the injunction was obeyed. Finally, a peace conference was called. I don't want to read that shit. Fuck that, man. 833, press 1. I want to get to the overthrow. The inauguration of Lincoln being near at hand, some of the KGC bethought themselves that it would be a very fine idea to assassinate him. and capture Washington. Inasmuch such a thrilling movement would strike terror to the hearts of the abolitionists, afford an opportunity to rob the national treasury, and thus secure the entire field in advance. Did you get that?
So you gonna smell my cologne into me yaki on the bar number 9, because I do not pray.
That's St. Clair I
Yes, tabernacle, sanctuary, because we keep God first in everything we do.
I said the inauguration of Lincoln being near at hand, some of the KGC bethought themselves that it would be a very fine idea to assassinate him and capture Washington. Inasmuch as such a thrilling movement would strike terror to the hearts of the abolitionists, afford an opportunity to rob the national treasury, and thus secure the entire field in advance. I am ashamed to own that there were not a few sneaking devils north of Mason, Dixon line, who counseled this diabolical policy and promised assistance in its prosecution. Now, had it not been for the encouragement given them from northern quarters, the southern castles would never have matured the plan for the capital seizure as far as they did. The plan alluded to, of which the people of the country generally had several hints, was as follows. About 1,000 men armed with bowie knives and pistols were to meet secretly at Baltimore, where they were to secure the services of the Plug Uglies. Thence they were to proceed to Washington on the day previous to the inauguration and stop at the hotels as private citizens, after which their leader was to reconnoiter and select the most effective mode of operations on the succeeding day. Reconnaissance, nigga. The scheme was not encouraged by Jeff Davis, as he was not yet quite crazy enough to think that a few dozen of the chivalry, quote unquote, could terrify the whole world by one demonstration. All right. Real devils. Wigfall, however, thought it a capital idea in more senses than one and urged its vigorous prosecution. Fortunately, the plot was discovered to some extent in time to give General Scott an opportunity to present some very forcible and with the KGC decisive arguments against it. I know the governor of Maryland tried to make it appear that no contemplated plan for the assassination of the president-elect existed, but he really knew about as little of the matter as Mr. Lincoln himself. And had he known it, would doubtless have done all in his powers to conceal the matter when he saw the preparations being made to prevent it, in order to preserve the fair fame of Baltimore. Finally, the day for the inauguration, March 4th, 1861, arrived in the presence of Scott's U.S. troops in the grim appearance of his flying artillery. Flying artillery? Made the occasion as peaceful as it was imposing. The anxiously looked for inaugural address was delivered and sent forth on the wings of the telegraph to all parts of the country. In the South, it was received as, quote unquote, a coercive document, while in the North, the majority regarded it as a conservative exposition of policy. Even the majority of Northern Democrats with whom I had opportunity of conversing thought the president could have said no less than he did and abide by the Constitution. The mere intimation contained in the inaugural speech that the laws would be enforced was all the Knights desired. This was, quote unquote, coercion enough for them, and in their estimation, no epithet was too contemptible to apply to those who endorsed it, whether living north or south. Here was another chance to sweep loyal Southern men from the position of honor into the succession hell. After Mr. Lincoln's inauguration, one of the first questions for him to settle was, what shall we do with the Confederates and the forts? A question more difficult of solution never came before an administration. Mr. Floyd, Buchanan's Secretary of War, had devoted about 1 out of the 4 years of the preceding administration to the removal of arms in large quantities from the northern and border slave states to the 6 cotton states, while Toucey, the then Secretary of the Navy, had sent a large majority of our available ships off to war to distant foreign stations, so far off, in fact, that they have not even at this date I am now writing returned. Where they went? Algeria.
What's this guy's name? It's something Hawk. And it may sound stereotypical, but dude looks like he's done some time. And sounds like he's done some.
Oh, man. I said the Secretary of the Navy has sent the large majority of our available ships of war to distant foreign stations, so far off, in fact, that they have not even, at the date I am now writing, returned. Charleston rebels had garrisoned Fort Moultrie and erected the most powerful and effective batteries all around Sumter, supported by a force of 7,000 men. In all 7 succeeded states, men by thousands were being mustered into the quote-unquote Confederate service. Drilled and equipped for war, and more deplorable than all else, there were scores of men in the loyal states who declared they could not support Mr. Lincoln in a quote-unquote coercive policy. In short, the new administration was literally tied hand and foot, and the most that it could do was await the course of events and take opportunity by the forelock. Lest some person should doubt the truth of the allegations I have made against Floyd, I have thought it well to present the proofs. The following is from the Richmond Examiner, a Southern paper especially devoted to the cause of secession. The facts we are about to state are official and indisputable under a single order of the late Secretary of War, the Honorable Mr. Floyd, made during last year, 1860. There were 115,000 improved muskets and rifles transferred from the Springfield Armory and Walter Vliet Arsenal to different arsenals in the South. The precise destination that was reached by all these arms, we have official authority for stating to have been as follows. Charleston, South Carolina Arsenal. Percussion muskets, 9,200. Altered muskets, 5,700. Percussion, 2,000. So this is Charleston, North Carolina, Augusta, Georgia, Alabama, Baton Rouge. Total number of improved arms thus supplied to 5 positories in the South by a single order of the late Secretary of War was 114,860. What numbers are supplied by other and minor orders, and what number of improved arms had before the great order been deposited in South can not now be ascertained. Besides this, a Memphis paper gives the following list of quote-unquote seizures of federal arms by the Confederates, other than those in Floyd's list. Baton Rouge, 70,000. Alabama, 28,000. North Carolina, 30,000. North Carolina, 35,000. Charleston, 23,000. Norfolk, 193,000 seized. All right. Thus, it appears that nearly 300,000 of the best arms of the federal government were put within the reach of its sworn enemies long before the election of Abraham Lincoln to the presidency. And yet there were men among us pretending to be loyal, who up to the very day of Sumter's bombardment declared the South only wanted her rights, that she could be easily compromised back into the Union, and that it would be a fratricidal crime to coerce her. According to the advanced views of this progressive age, it is very wrong to coerce a regularly organized band of burglars and robbers to justice. I presume that if the devil was to lead his impish legions to the very portals of paradise and threaten to bombard the New Jerusalem, it would be very coercive in Jehovah to send Michael and his army to repulse him. So I want you to bear in mind, out of all this wickedness we've been hearing, how fluent he is in the matters of religion. Time progressed, and it began to appear that Lincoln's course was to be a peaceful one. This had the effect to induce the Union men of the South, for there were yet many there, to believe that perhaps a brighter day was ahead. In fact, the Union feeling was becoming so strong from the lapse of excitement that toward the close of March, Union flags were raised in Mobile and Natchez. The Knights were not blind to this reaction. A little time and reflection they knew would ruin their enterprise. Meantime, many who had been coerced into castle were withdrawing, and it became clearly obvious that without some new excitement, the cause of the devil would suffer a most inglorious defeat in Alabama, at least. I said the cause of the devil. Did I say devil? The cause of the devil would suffer a most inglorious defeat in Alabama, at least. A little time and reflection they knew would ruin their enterprise. Meantime, many who had been coerced into castle were withdrawing, and it became clearly obvious that without some new excitement, the cause of the devil would suffer a most inglorious defeat in Alabama, at least. The truth is, the people in nearly all the cotton states were growing tired of so much extra taxation and slavish drudgery for the mere sake of sustaining the name of the Southern Confederacy. As a means of keeping up the quote-unquote keeping up the interest, the Montgomery Congress appointed and sent commissioners to Washington to treat with the president a good deal after the manner that his satanic majesty treated with Jesus Christ on the Mount. If these commissioners were not officially received, it was to be taken for granted that Lincoln intended coercion, and yet no human being with any knowledge of the federal Constitution could explain how the president could negotiate with the quote-unquote Confederate commissioners without violating his oath. The Confederate Congress, which had met at Montgomery, framed a constitution, elected a president, Davis, a vice president, Stevens, and formed a provisional, or more properly speaking, bogus government. Could not confer the constitutional authority upon Lincoln to receive their bastard commissioners. Mr. Lincoln himself could not do it without having a new constitution forged for the occasion, which a good many Northerners seemed anxious he should do. So what, in the name of common sense, could be done to prevent that thing, so much dreaded by Northerners and so terribly hated by Southrons, called coercion? In the meantime, something was to be done with Fort Sumter and Pickens. If they were not evacuated, that was to be considered coercion. If they were not to be reinforced, that was awful coercion. Finally, if their starving garrisons were to be furnished something to eat, and that was treacherous coercion. In short, everything looked towards the retention of the federal property was construed into coercion. The Confederate commissioner proposed to purchase the United States property within their boundaries in order to quote-unquote save bloodshed. The leaders in the bogus government decided to create the impression that they intended to exhaust every peaceable method for securing the acknowledgement of their independence before resorting to arms, while in reality, the uppermost desire in their piratical hearts was that they might have a battle. For without a battle or two, there was not the least hope that the border slave states could be induced to succeed. In proof of that assertion, I refer the reader to the historical fact that when Mr. Lincoln had, through the advice of his military functionaries, concluded to evacuate Sumter, the authorities at Charleston refused to allow it on any other than their own conditions. They would agree to nothing but an unconditional surrender would not allow that the fort should be claimed as United States property, nor that Major Anderson should even be allowed to salute his flag on leaving it. The ostensible objects, therefore, in sending the Confederate commissioners to Washington were, in the first place, to procure a battle, in the second place, to avail themselves of sufficient time and sympathy to make ample preparations for the future, and in the third place, by their hypocritical pretensions to a desire for peace, to inflame and draw off the border slave states. Prominent members of the KJC in the latter named states had written to the authorities in Montgomery informing them that the order was becoming so unpopular in their region that in many instances castles were obliged to surrender their charters, that their neighbors were becoming even disgusted with the provisional government and the movements of the seceded states, and that without something to excite their Southern pride, the cause would be lost beyond redemption. The devil's cause. A battle at Sumter or Pickens would excite that pride, and advantage must be taken of the first opportunity for a collision. I was in Kentucky about that time, latter part of March 1861. And many of the best citizens of that state told me that they, the Kentuckians, had no sympathy with South Carolina, the leader of the rebellion, that they even hated her, but that in case of a coercive policy on the part of the federal administration, state pride would carry them with her. Southern pride is a thing of remarkable sensitiveness, so sensitive, in fact, that when wounded, it induces men who pretend to be very intelligent to overlook all their political, social, and personal interests for the mere sake of resentment. This shit is getting fucking boring. It's toxic as shit. And that's not even the part I read. Like, they so corrupt, they doing so much fuckery. That wasn't even the part I wanted to read to you. This may be it. So they everywhere. But the chagrin experienced in consequence of their unexpected disappointment in the free states only nerved the KGC to more powerful efforts in the South. So now we see the German word in the text. The dragoons. Castles were built up at every little town and crossroads where 1 of the faithful could be mustered. In every locality where they had the majority, and even in some instances where they were in the minority, the gag law was brutally enforced by mob suasion. Wherever they had the power to carry forward their designs in the border slave states, they were to denounce in the bitterest terms every man who would not work in concert with them. Men, whether natives of North or South, who opposed them were to be dealt with as traitors. I saw a man ordered to leave a little town on the Kentucky shore in half an hour's time or remain and be hung, although he had been born and reared in that place. In short, all the coercive appliances were to be used in border states which had been so successful in the seceded states. But one very serious obstacle in the path of their progress was a strong and decided stand which some of the ablest and most influential of their own statesmen were taking in favor of the Union. Such men as Prentice, Harney, Guthrie, Dixon, Brownlow, Johnson, Nelson, and others of that class stood greatly in their way. These were meant to be feared far more than the northern foes for their talents and influence in the South being commensurate with their patriotism. Their blows at the snake of secession were powerful and effective. All hail to those patriotic giants who, even yet with their love of country undimmed by their sulfurous smoke of the despotic hell by which they are surrounded on every hand, dare to unsheath their claymores and wield them in defense of that government to which they have ever stood devoted, in order to the rapid propulsion of the succession car. Such men as the aforementioned were either to be persuaded off the track or run over. In other words, if it was found impossible to win them over to succession, they were to be made way with. In Castle, numerous plans were proposed to effect these designs. Brownlow and Johnson, they did not hope to convert to their faith. Consequently, they were to have their quote-unquote lights put out. But it was thought that possibly by getting up a strong outside pressure such as Prentice and Guthrie might be induced to recant. In fact, there were scores of knights who, notwithstanding their newborn zeal in the cause of the devil, still loved Prentice.
what's this guy's name? It's something Hawk. And it may sound stereotypical, but dude looks like he's done some time. And sounds like he's done.
Hey man, say man. I'm gonna take a break from that shit, dog. Now y'all see why I got a headache. Cause them spirits be on that shit, bro.
You cannot spell the word assault. Can you imagine a judge that, well, goes on vacation, goes to China, buys silverware and prostitutes with American taxpayer money? Can you imagine a police officer who cannot question witnesses separately, but does it all together and coordinates an effort to, well, railroad an individual he doesn't like? Can you imagine, well, mayors taking bribes for construction contracts, other contracts, in order for him or her to buy a yacht and retire a millionaire? Well, if you can imagine these things, well, you've just imagined Freemasons in Chicago. Let me tell you more about it. Freemasons in Chicago are considered a fraternal group, which obviously has hidden spiritual and religious rights, and who are a secret society of persons who hold various positions from government, law enforcement, business owners, and etc., and etc. The main Freemason groups in Chicago was the Knights of Columbus, who are a group consisting of Catholic Freemasons. Yes, Catholic Freemasons. I was told that the Catholic institution, well, frowns upon individuals joining Masonic lodges, but apparently, Anyway, Knights of Columbus. Also, the other groups of Freemasons are the Rotary Clubs, Scottish Rite, Lions, Elks, and Shriners. The two most powerful Freemason groups in Chicago are the Knights of Columbus and the Scottish Rite and Prince Hall Masons. And many of them are centered right there in the city of Chicago. Many of these Masons also include church ministers, administrators, Chicago politicians, Chicago business leaders, and community watch leaders. Various other individuals that, well, shouldn't have that much, well, stake in the matter, considering they're part of a secret society. Here's the thing about it. Freemasons of different lodges recognize each other by way of handshakes, hand signs, and passwords. Despite their claim as being a non-religious fraternal order, the truth is they operate much like a religious pagan order, having secret rituals, secret oaths, and secret meetings. And one of the requirements of being a Freemason is that you have to believe in some sort of deity. Doesn't mean God, just some deity. Freemasons, even in Chicago, are known to enjoy favors, deals, and privileges other citizens could not or do not enjoy. And the Masons, make no mistake, are not a misunderstood fraternity of men and women, but are indeed powerful and can and do get away with murder and other various crimes so easily, in fact, that the people most of the time will hardly even notice it. That's the reality of it. You see, here's this thing. I do not believe in white privilege. I think that's a myth. fact, I think that's completely untrue. I do believe that secret societies do have certain privileges that other citizens don't. There are over 300 million Americans. Only 1.5 of them are Freemasons. And that 1.5, well, they enjoy a lot of privileges indeed. And that 1.5 aren't just what you call white, but they consist of other cultures as well. And as a collective secrecy, well, many of them often get away with things that aren't even on your primetime news programs. Somehow it just doesn't make it there. You would be surprised at the kind of people who are Freemasons based in Chicago. It includes people like Jesse Jackson, the first governor of Illinois, several Chicago mayors like Harold Washington, Cubs legend like Ernie Banks, Bobby Rush, legendary comedian Richard Pryor, actor Bill Murray, and many others. In fact, the very creation and building of the city of Chicago was credited and done by Freemasons, as far back as the mid to late 1830s and also by the 1840s. Freemasons were the most powerful people in Chicago, and in fact, they still are to this day. That hasn't changed. Many of Chicago's oldest buildings, landmarks, and historic buildings were also built by Freemasons. Institutions like the Chicago Board of Education, the Fraternal Order of Police, the City Hall building, the Courthouse building, Rush Medical College, Masonic Hospital, Chicago Unions of Construction and Transportation, and etc. were all created by Freemasons. People like Mayor Long John Whitworth, the founder of the Republican Party, was a Mason based in Chicago, along with some of the leading names of Chicago.
Now, because we got the keys, we know what was really going on in 1840. Nigga, Freemason wasn't building shit. 33 wasn't 33. They ain't had no power. It's all cap. They wasn't building shit. Them devils. So you need to take your lying ass KKK newspaper clippings on back to the motherfucking stove. Press 1.
Because you're going to smell my cologne in Simiyaki on some bar number 9, because I do not play.
That's the same clone I wear.
Yes, Tabernacle, Sanctuary, because we keep God first in everything we do.
Hey.
I didn't even mean to put Snitchy McRat on the motherfucking channel. I got something for y'all. Put some ones in the chat, man. If you learn something, man, we're going to wrap this one up. We at 333. Y'all know what 33 stand for? And before we wrap it up, I want to
transmission complete.
I'll read this quote at Pike. So the Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the quote-unquote agentur of the quote-unquote Illuminati between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam, the Muslim Arabic world, and political Zionism, the State of Israel, mutually destroy each other. Meanwhile, the Muslim Arabic world and political Zionism, the State of Israel, mutually destroy each other. I read it again, my bad. Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economical exhaustion. We shall unleash the nihilists and the atheists, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm, which in all its horror will show clearly to the nations that the effect of absolute atheism, origin of savagery, and of the most bloody turmoil. Then everywhere the citizens obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries will exterminate those destroyers of civilization, and the multitude, disillusioned with Christianity, whose deistic spirits will from that moment be without compass or direction, anxious for an ideal, but without knowing where to render its adoration, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer. Brought finally out into the public view, the manifestation will result from the general reactionary movement which will follow the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time. Albert Pike, August 15th, 1871.
What's this guy's name? It's something Hawk. And it may sound stereotypical, but dude looks like he's done some time. And sounds like he's done some time.
If you're new, man, make sure you subscribe. Illuminati Hotline on the way.
What's this guy's name? It's something Hawk.
Because you're going to smell my cologne. Intimidati of the bar number 9. Because I do not play.
That's the same clone I wear.
Yes, Tabernacle Sanctuary. Because we keep God first in everything we do.
Hey.
Peace to the tribes, man. I do it for us. 339. I think I could give you one more gem.
Talk to the house of Israel for a minute, huh? If you're really serious and you're looking for a Christ man, the one who anointed with the Lord, with the Spirit of the Lord to do his will, I'm that nigga. You not stop faking.
Yeah, we'll do that. My phone died, so I ain't looking at the chat, so you have to forgive me. You know what I'm saying? Ignoring nobody. Hopefully I'll catch it on the playback if it's something that went unsaid. Let's do this. Make sure you share this live stream, get it out here, man. Like I say, if you're new, subscribe. I am the Incredible Hawk. This is Hawk School for the Gifted and the Elect. Live from the Immaculate Republic of Atlantis. Atlantis is rising. Rising.
Because you're going to smell my cologne. Intimate on the bar number 9. Because I do not play.
That's the same clone I wear.
Yes, tabernacle, sanctuary. Because we keep God first in everything we do.
Hey.
We will work together, always, and will remain. Death will come to he who speaks. We will keep their life.
ODD TV. Never sleep again.
An illusion it will be. So large, so vast, it will escape their perception. Those who will see it will be thought of as insane. We will create separate fronts to prevent them from seeing the connection between us. We will behave as if we are not connected to keep the illusion alive. Our goal will be accomplished one drop at a time, so as to never bring suspicion upon ourselves. This will also prevent them from seeing the changes as they occur. We will always stand above the relative field of their experience, for we know the secrets of the Absolute. We will work together, always, and will remain bound by blood and secrecy. Death will come to he who speaks. We will keep their lifespan short and their minds weak while pretending to do the opposite. We will use our knowledge of science and technology in subtle ways so that they will never see what is happening. We will use soft metals, aging accelerators, and sedatives in food and water. Also, in the air. They will be blanketed in poison everywhere they turn. The soft metals will cause them to lose their minds. We will promise to find a cure from our many fronts. Yet we will feed them more poison. The poisons will be absorbed through their skin and mouths. They will destroy their minds and reproductive systems. From all this, their children will be born dead, and we will conceal this information. The poisons will be hidden in everything that surrounds them, in what they drink, eat, breathe, and wear. We must be ingenious in dispensing the poisons, for they can see far. We will teach them that the poisons are good, with fun images and musical tones. Those they look up to will help. We will enlist them to push our poisons. They will see our products being used in film and will grow accustomed to them and will never know their true effect. When they give birth, we will inject poisons into the blood of their children and convince them it is for their help. We will start early on, when their minds are young. We will target their children with what children love most, sweet things. When their teeth decay, we will fill them with metals that will kill their mind and steal their future. When their inability to learn has been affected, we will create medicine that will make them sicker and cause other diseases for which we will create yet more medicine. We will render them docile and weak before us by our power. They will grow depressed, slow, and obese. And when they come to us for help, we will give them more poison. We will focus their attention towards money and material goods, so that the many never connect with their inner self. We will distract them with fornication, external pleasures, and games, so that they may never be one with the oneness of it all. Their minds will belong to us, and they will do as we say. If they refuse, we shall find ways to implement mind-altering technology into their lives. We will use fear as our weapon. We will establish their governments and establish opposites within. We will own both sides. We will always hide our objective but carry out our plan. They will perform the labor for us, and we shall prosper from their toil.
The devil is a motherfucking liar. So you know I ain't worried. Bitch. Stupid bitch.
But change your motherfucking mindset. You wanna know why you ain't got shit? Cause you ain't thinking about shit. I come out the door every day with this shit on my mind. I'm gonna give me a bag. Fuck wrong with you? I'm gonna give me some cash. Change your motherfucking mindset, man. You think pennies, you get pennies. Bitch, I'm thinking dollars.
We have style, we got flavor, we got rhythm. I mean, the black man in America is the most copied man on this planet, bar none. Everybody want to be a nigga, but nobody want to be a nigga. How about that question?
I don't give a fuck what you think, bitch. Your thoughts ain't my thoughts. Bitch, I'm flowing straight from the survival scroll. Cut that bitch off.